from Cincinnati to Lexington, Kentucky, and then to Louisville. Make an X in the middle. That X marks the spot. But the Truck Series horses have been here before. In fact, the Trucks baptized this place over a decade ago. Austin Dillon anxious to improve on his fourth-place point standing. Ron Hornaday is our most recent winner with the victory. He jumped up in points. Cole Witt just turned 20. He is trailing only Johnny Sauter, who is our current points leader. There is a buzz surrounding this race weekend. Sprint Cup Superstars racing in Kentucky for the first time. So it's a new venue for the likes of Tony Stewart and Dale Earnhardt Jr. But for the Trucks, this is simply my old Kentucky home. The setup, presented by Polaris, is on. Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Setup. I'm Krista Voda. All week, local newscasts have been talking all about the fact that NASCAR is in their backyard. But for you, a member of our Truck Series family, well, you know that this might be a new track for some. Not for us, but the exposure is heightened and the stakes are bigger than ever. Now, we have been off for 3 weeks, so I know Ray Dunlap and Hermie Sadler have tons of news to get us caught up on. They are in the corral as we speak. Let's start with Hermie. Hermie, what's new? What's going on?
A lot is new, Krista, and let's talk about Justin Lawton right off the bat. The last time we saw him at Texas, he was in the 77 truck. Well, tonight, he's over in the 46 truck at Eddie Sharp Racing, replacing Craig Ghost. They qualified 17th, and he's got a good history with Eddie Sharp Racing. He won the 2009 ARCA Championship with Eddie Sharp. Ray?
You know, Hermie, every time we come to a mile-and-a-half racetrack, you got to talk about Germain Racing. Todd Bodine has been great on these mile-and-a-halves. And Todd has been behind the wheel of the number 30 for Germain Racing for 150 races. They started all the way back at the beginning of 2005. But after tonight, there's a very good chance this team will take a hiatus. I'm hearing in the garage they will not be going to our next race in Iowa and very well may miss Nashville also. Hermie?
Well, Ray, another team that's going in the opposite direction in a good way is Thor Sport. They announced today that Dakota Armstrong will join them for a limited schedule this year. They will debut at Iowa next weekend in the 98 truck. They run a limited amount of races this year, and Dakota will be in a third truck for Thor Sport for 2012. Ray?
Oh, it's great to hear about debuts, and I've got one to talk about tonight also. How about the 15 truck? Josh Richards is behind the wheel of the Joy Mining and Manufacturing truck, and I'll tell you what, this kid is great when he's in a dirt late model. He's won a couple of championships in the world of outlaws and lots of races, but tonight it's the beginning of a brand new chapter as he'll drive the 15. Krista?
Wow, you guys, a lot of news indeed. And with all the hype surrounding this weekend, you know, it's easy to forget that it has been 3 weeks since the trucks have raced. That's quite a vacation. So do you remember who won our most recent race? In fact, do you remember who won the 8 before that? Let's get you caught up on what's happened, what's gotten us here.
Early in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series season, the win column has been dominated by one name.
Kyle Busch.
Kyle Busch.
Busch has won 4 of the 9 races so far, with Casey Kane picking up another win, driving under the KBM banner. Other Cup Series regulars to notch a truck win this year include Clint Boyer in his home state of Kansas.
So proud of this Speedway and everything that's become of it. I always dreamed of being able to race here, let alone to be able to win here is just a dream come true.
And Michael Waltrip with an emotional win on the 10th anniversary of his Daytona 500 win, and his friend Dale Earnhardt's death.
God bless Dale. I came here to celebrate his life with my black truck and my 15 car. I didn't come to celebrate a win.
The only truck regulars with a win so far are Johnny Sauter.
Johnny Sauter wins in Martinsville.
And Ron Hornaday.
Johnny Sauter's in front. He's been black flag. It will be the win for Ron Hornaday.
But all of that could quickly change as the Truck Series heads out on its own for most of the summer, meaning fewer Cup drivers in the mix. Only 9 races in, we've already seen rivalries, emotion, and champions falter. With 14 races to go, it's anyone's guess what's around the next turn.
I cannot wait. Looking at our Ford points, Joey Coulter up into the top 10. His teammate Austin Dillon, along with Matt Crafton and Timothy Peters, each lose a position, while Ron Hornaday leapfrogs past all of them into third. Johnny Sauter remains the point leader, despite walking out of Texas, our last race, disappointed. Here's a look at what happened in Texas. After leading 56 laps, it looked like Sauter had the truck to beat until the final restart. You see him change lanes, comes down in front of Ron Hornaday. That happened before the start-finish line. Therefore, Sauter was black flagged. Hornaday wins. Sauter was upset.
Johnny headed back to the garage. Your comment? God bless America.
Well, the good news that came out of this is we got a cool T-shirt, and this was made by his sponsor, Safe Auto, and they are selling all the proceeds from this to donate to charity to Wounded Warriors. I talked to Johnny Sauter throughout the weekend, and he said, look, guys, here's the bottom line. We made a mistake on the racetrack. I don't really think it's anything that should have been penalized. NASCAR disagreed, and he lost 24 points that night. He comes here tonight as the point leader by 20, but it's sure been a lot nicer to have 44. Hermie?
Well, Parker Kligerman has got a lot of good things going on. Second at Texas, career best start tonight. This team's on the upswing. Is it time for that first victory?
Well, it's always time for that first victory, but obviously we have a lot of momentum going on right now. You know, all these guys in this Penske Truck Rental Ram have just been working their tails off day in and day out. I mean, you know, we would like to take that momentum from Texas and go straight to our race, but as a small team like us, we really could use that little bit of time off we had to work on our trucks, and so we came back here. We're just as strong as we left Texas, which is good. And you know, I guess we're right now, we're solidly top 5. We just need, you know, have things go our way, and we could be right there in victory lane.
That's Parker Kligerman. He is turning some heads, and he'll be a factor to win tonight's race. Krista?
Absolutely, Hermie. He rolls off 5th, and hard to believe we've only had 9 races, meaning we are not even halfway through our season. But a couple of things already stick out. First, that youth movement. The under-21 wristbands are a hot ticket in this group. Also, check out the struggles of Todd Bodine and the domination of Kyle Busch. Coming up, more on Bodine and Busch, including what went down here last year. Do you remember that? Also, a lot of fun field trips in store. Wait till you see where we are taking you, like skeet shooting with RCR, teammates Austin Dillon and Joey Coulter, plus big wheel racing with not one, but 2 Sadler brothers. There's an interesting perspective. And you thought Victory Lane was hard to get into. Try visiting Fort Knox. We will do just that when the setup from Kentucky returns. The setup is presented by Polaris, the hardest working, smoothest riding off-road vehicles, now at your local dealer. Brought to you in part by Camping World RV Sales, the best selection and the best values on travel trailers guaranteed. And in high definition by Funai. Funai, fun and innovative. Experience more at FunaiAmerica.com.
He has never won at this racetrack. Coming through 3 and 4, Todd Bodine's going to win in Kentucky.
Person I got to thank is Kyle Busch for driving dirty, sucking me down, and getting me spun out to give us the gas. I mean, that's why we won the race.
Todd Bodine would love to get those 5 points. Oh, and sideways goes Todd Bodine. Can he save it? In victory lane, Kyle Busch came in and confronted Todd.
He wasn't happy that I called him out on TV. He thinks he owns the racetrack, and he doesn't cut anybody a break, but he drives that way in every division, every week. And I called him out, and he didn't like it.
So that's what happened the last time we were here. Immediately following that race, Kyle Busch traveled to Atlanta for the Cup event. He was inundated with questions about Bodine's comments. Both are in the field today. Welcome back to the Kentucky Speedway. Now, Todd and Kyle did go on to play nice. They even shared splitting the driver and owner championships last season. But for Todd Bodine, defending that title has been extremely difficult this year, a year filled with uncertainty.
What a surprising start for Todd Bodine in the 2011 season. Travis Kvapil involved in this one. He gets sideways, and now they pile up behind him.
Yeah, I guess that about do it right there, boys.
It's not a great way to start this relationship with Tire Kingdom, and we'll come back again. We'll get him at Phoenix.
Side-by-side battle with Timothy Peters.
Oh, he's going to spin it
around
out.
Goes the 30 of Todd Bodine.
He just made it back into the top 10 with his 30 truck. He's got about the 3rd quickest truck right now.
Problems with a 30 truck of Todd Bodine. Right rear, and around goes Todd Bodine. Miguel Paludo slid trying to get onto pit road. There's damage to that truck. He spun right in front of the 30 of Todd Bodine.
After that accident getting on pit road, that truck is junk.
The 30 up high.
One more.
To the flat tire.
Down low. All clear.
He just
Switch
fit
your
it.
boxes and stuff, bud.
Motor issues.
Or engines. We got problems on the racetrack. Bodine into the wall.
Boy, the mile-and-a-half magic is not going to work out for Todd Bodine.
We had a good run. Come out of here, you know, to come out of this slump. You know, we wanted to win. There's no doubt, but we had the third best truck.
Oh, and into the wall, we've got David Starr and the 30 of Todd Bodine.
It's not going to be number 7 for Todd Bodine.
You know, our luck has just been horrible this year, and, you know, that was my fault. I'll take the blame for that.
Todd Bodine has only had 2 top 5s this year. Those are also his only 2 top 10s. And the one that jumps out to me here is laps led. Quite a difference from last year's championship season to this year. And as Ray told us at the start of the show, now they have issues, may not even be in the next couple races. It would be tough to see our defending champion not on the track. Ray?
Well, and Krista, we were hoping to interview him, but he's about to come through driver intros right now. And I asked Todd, I said, what is the situation this weekend in particular? He said, our truck is just bouncing so much. As I go through the bumps, I have no control. And he said, it's not like the setup we had here last fall when we got the victory. Todd Bodine coming down off the trailer right now, and maybe we'll get a word with him shortly. Hermie?
Thank you, Ray. I want to catch up with Nelson Piquet Jr. Great qualifying run, career best, and your team is coming off 2 solid finishes. Can you win tonight?
I'm sure we can do something very good. The truck is very good. Practice, we were very close to the top. Qualifying even more, so I'm sure we're going to be very, very strong in the race.
Well, he loves these mile-and-a-halves, and he's got a good starting spot tonight. Ray?
And here comes the onion off the stage. We were talking about how your truck was not very good in practice. Any chance that it'll be a lot better as the track cools off tonight, Todd?
I don't know, Ray. We've missed something right from the start, and we're not really sure what it is. The truck's been bouncing a lot, and I think what I'm going to have to do is just try to find where the bumps are not and drive around them or under them, whatever. But, you know, we got a great sponsor, Georgia Boot, first race. We're kind of disappointed we're not running better for them.
If the 30 does not go next week, will you personally be at Iowa?
Yeah, well, I don't know for sure, but I'd like to go support my teammates. We did the tire test out there. We were really fast. We have a great setup, and we're not going to Iowa right now.
Okay, sponsorship woes, putting the 30 on the sidelines next week.
Hard to believe. Thanks, Ray. Bodine starts 20th tonight. Ron Hornaday starts 7th. I mentioned those 2 because they are the only 2 drivers in the field who have won at this racetrack. Lots of possibilities tonight. Let's go upstairs where Rick Allen, Phil Parsons, and Michael Waltrip are standing by, ready to call this race. Gentlemen, welcome back to Kentucky.
Thanks, Chris. I think the shocking news has to be that our defending series champion might not be at the next race. I mean, here's a guy who ran so well in 2010, claims the championship, and it's almost turned 180 degrees on him, Phil.
And it's really hard to explain, and we've seen that time and time again where you have a year where nothing can go wrong, like it did for Hornaday 2 or 3 years ago, and then the next year nothing can go right. And it's really, really hard to explain, and it's happened to me, and Michael, I know it's happened to you. You can't put your finger on it, and then you start pressuring things.
Yeah,
you're trying to make something happen.
No one's ever been able to repeat as champion in the Camping World Truck Series. That's pretty amazing. You know, some guys got on rolls and just couldn't pull that off. Doesn't look like it's going to happen in 2011 for sure. You know, if you just look at this race from Kentucky a year ago, where Kyle Busch and Todd Bodine got together a little bit, Todd spins out, comes back and wins the race. This year, if he spins out, he's in the wall. That's how quickly things change, and that's where Todd Bodine and that whole 30 team is right now.
It seems that we see a lot of emotions in this series, especially. Obviously, last race we were in, Johnny Sauter, very emotional about not getting the win. And again, a year ago at this racetrack, Kyle Busch, Todd Bodine, emotional after that win. What sparks the emotions in this series?
This is an emotional sport. It's amazing how hard people work at this sport, and they've wanted to do this their whole lives. Like Michael, in my case, we've wanted to do this our whole life, and we lived and died with every single thing, every single time we got in a race car, and that's the passion that these guys have. You don't get 162 games like baseball.
Right.
You know, you get maybe 25 opportunities in a truck, and you want to make the most of it, and it pains you when it doesn't work.
And sometimes you're so pained, the only thing you can say, God bless America. It's that painful. It hurts so bad. You got so much in you, but you know you better not let it all out.
And that was the shirt that was made after Texas. We'll go back to you, Krista.
I absolutely love it. Can think of no better motto. You see the trucks lining up behind me. Johnny Sauter and God bless America on the pole. Austin Dillon alongside. You know, it's been a busy 24 hours for Dillon. Right after completing a truck final practice today, he jumped into a Cup car to test fuel injection, pulling the trigger for the Earnhardt Childress engines for fuel injection in a Sprint Cup car. Yesterday, he and his teammate Joey Coulter were pulling the trigger somewhere else.
We're out here at Elk Creek Lodge trying to take Krista for a few shooting lessons, I guess. Joey, he's the Florida boy, so I'm kind of confused. He said the first gun he had in his hand was a Super Soaker, if it counts, so we'll see how he does today. We'll have a little competition somehow. I'm sure we can create it.
Yeah, let's figure out what we're doing right now. So who, I mean,
Set the
obviously
stakes.
you're a ringer.
She's
so
wanting to play hard
well,
right
you
here.
need some, we need to like handicap this a little bit.
I'll give you 15 and Joey 10. How's that?
Okay, let's do it.
It's scary when a girl can shoot a gun like that. Could get heated here shortly. Krista just got on a roll, got her first 2 targets there, so I'm gonna have to keep my focus on.
All right. I was getting worried there for a minute. Oh yeah, both of them. Yeah, woo!
All right.
She did not hit both of them. I'm glad it's on camera that Mike Dillon and Krista came up with this whole idea that when they miss it, they're going to say they hit it anyways.
Woo, those first 2, smoking.
Yeah.
Woo!
I don't even want to hear it. How do you play with people like this?
Well, boys, how'd we do? I mean, Joey, we've taken you out of the city and turned you into a shooter.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to the race car, though.
Pretty sure I owe you dinner.
Yeah?
Hands down.
It's all right. We can credit it out and do another competition sometime, maybe.
Just keep adding up.
Yeah.
Keep adding up. All right, dinner on me.
Dinner on Krista.
What can I say?
Let's get out of here, go racing. Something we do know how to do.
Sounds good.
All right.
I cannot believe it. Even with the insurance points, Dillon had my number. I'm actually quite disappointed in my performance. Now, Joey was money on each station's second shot, and Austin thinks I was cheating. I can't believe that, right?
Throughout practice and qualifying, you've had a strong truck, but my question is, can it be a winning truck?
I think so. You know, we've built in a lot of adjustability for tonight. Earlier today, we didn't practice much because we felt like the temperature's going to be dropping tonight, speed's going to be picking up, and we got a truck for later on. So I feel really confident in the guys. They've done a great job in Bass Pro Shops. Chevy's been good all weekend, so we have a good Thursday night race here.
All right, good luck to you. Austin Dillon will roll off second.
Well, thank you, Ray. I want to talk about Kyle Busch. He qualified 8th for tonight's race, but he will start from the rear of the field. He missed the driver's meeting earlier, and this is one of the few mile-and-a-half racetracks that he has not won at. His best finish here is 6th. So if he's going to win tonight, Krista, he's got to start from the back.
Wow, and the field may have just been opened up. All the other drivers, I mean, you're kind of excited the fact that at least he has another obstacle in front of him. So keep your eyes on Kyle Busch to see what he can do tonight. The fans in Kentucky, Southeast Indiana, and Southern Ohio have been waiting for this weekend for a while now. Today, the fans and the drivers were waiting out the heat. Finally starting to cool down. We are getting ready to go racing. More to come next. The setup is presented by Polaris, the hardest working, smoothest riding off-road vehicles, now at your local dealer. Brought to you in high definition by Funai. Funai, fun and innovative. Experience more at FunaiAmerica.com. And by KFC. Today is a KFC day, and today tastes so good. Speaking of taste, Hunt Brothers Pizza, sponsor of Elliott Sadler, was ready to race last night. Elliott and brother Hermie took part in a fun event at the Sparta Quick Stop, but instead of stock cars, the mode of transportation was big wheels. Now participants had to wolf down some food, turn a lap, then chug a Coke and turn another lap. Now you see right there, Hermie didn't finish that Coke. He's cheating a little bit, but his stomach was working overtime, and apparently, as you see, those wings, well, they all slid to his right side. After this, it was time for a little sibling rivalry.
Ellie, the fans came out. I think they want to see me and you race one time.
Well,
know you want to congratulate me. My first win since 1994.
Good job, man.
Well, thanks again to Hunt Brothers Pizza, NASCAR Camping World Truck Series on Speed.
Elliott Sadler in the field tonight, and basically what I learned from that, there you see Hunt Brothers Pizza. Hermie cheated at the big wheels, and I cheated a little bit at skeet shooting. So I don't know what that says about our broadcast team, but that looked like a lot of fun. And it's hard to believe that Elliott Sadler is a rookie at this track. Not sure if that big wheel race gives him an edge at all, but the track has given the fans an edge. Since we were last here in our truck race last September, 40,000 additional seats have been added to the Kentucky Speedway landscape. Just a way for the track to thank the fans for fighting to get this race. Also this week, ThorSport drivers, they were thanking local troops. Johnny Sauter, Matt Crafton, and newbie Dakota Armstrong said thank you when they joined Cup drivers Martin Truex and David Rudiman on a visit to Fort Knox. The Army base sits on over 109,000 acres and covers 3 Kentucky counties. It is home to the Army Human Resources Center for Excellence. It is also home to over 40,000 soldiers. A great event, and there you see a lot of fans came out, and the driver said thank you.
It's been a pretty cool experience so far. What a huge base this place is. You know, he told me that he thinks there's anywhere from 30 to 40,000 people living here. So very cool. And Fort Knox, who doesn't want to see that?
I mean, it's an honor to be able to come out and hang out with all the military. I mean, it's always an honor to be able to be around them. I was thanking them a little while ago, and they said that not everybody always thanks them, not everybody always realizes what they do for us. I mean, that's one of the things that without them, and we don't have the freedom, we can't do the things we want to do and are able to do.
As we said, Fort Knox home to 40,000 soldiers, but we here at Speed and with our Truck Series broadcast team thank all of our troops serving stateside and overseas. We are forever indebted to you. Hermie?
Well, Krista, you know, Elliott Sadler, we saw you finish P2 in the big wheel race last night. Thanks to Hunt Brothers, I know you want to improve that by 1 tonight.
We do. It's my first time ever racing here in Kentucky, so KHI and the guys brought me a great 2 truck tonight. The Hunt Brothers Pizza truck was really fast in practice yesterday in race trim. I'm just looking forward to tonight. A lot of great fans showed up to the night, and man, we want to go for the win. It's so much fun when you can race not for points, just kind of throw caution to the wind, take some chances, and we should have a good night tonight.
And your hair looks great. Go back to you, Krista.
Thanks, Sadler Brothers. The Bluegrass State knows a thing or two about horsepower. Normally, it's the 4-legged kind. Keep your eye on Ron Hornaday. As we said, starting 7th, a former winner here. Also, some other young drivers to keep an eye on. How about Jason White? He also qualified in the top 10. No saddle needed, but you will definitely want to hold on to the reins of these horses. We will get you ready for pre-race festivities. A great crowd on hand. They are ready to race. We'll get you closer when we return. It is a trifecta bet here in Kentucky. Don't forget to tune in to Race Day for a Saturday night special before the Sprint Cup debut here at Kentucky. But the trucks get things kicked off first. On Saturday, veterans like Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson, former champions, will be rookies at this track. But here it's mostly just our rookies who are first-timers because our stars have been here before. The trucks have been racing here for over a decade, but only 2 on the grid have been to victory lane before. We told you it's Todd Bodine and Ron Hornaday. So who will rise to the occasion? The UNOH 225 on speed. You will see it from the Kentucky Speedway. Johnny Sauter on the pole, Austin Dillon alongside. It all starts right now.
Kentucky is more than just horses and bluegrass. It's a place where NASCAR racing has taken over.
The announcement was made that this track would be the newest one to host the big boys of Sprint Cup.
It's where the Truck Series has called home for over a decade.
Welcome to the inaugural event at Kentucky Speedway. They built it, we came.
Where drivers pave the way to their championship season.
Ready to push the limit in Kentucky. Kentucky Speedway is just over 10 years old, and this is the biggest weekend in its young existence, and it all starts with the trucks. Welcome to the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series University of Northwestern Ohio 225 on speed. Ron Hornaday is the most recent winner, but that win came 4 weeks ago, so the momentum he had may have been halted. Not the case for Johnny Sauter. His memories of Texas have been burning inside of him and fueling his desire to get to victory lane ever since he was black flagged at the end of the race. Sauter's been the class of the field since we arrived in the Bluegrass State, and he wants to make a statement tonight. He'll start up front and try to hold off the other 35 drivers for 150 laps of bumper-to-bumper and door-to-door racing. A great crowd on hand. The drivers are outside their trucks as we get ready for pre-race ceremonies. Let's go down trackside for tonight's invocation and national anthem.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats as the Kentucky National Guard presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Raceway Ministries Pastor John Roberts offers tonight's invocation.
May we pray together? Our dear Heavenly Father, we want to praise you for being our one and only Almighty God. Father, we want to thank you for the freedom that we enjoy in these great United States of America, and we want to pray for each and every man and woman that defend that freedom. We pray for a safe event tonight, Father. We pray for good sportsmanship. We pray these things in your Son's holy and precious name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Here to perform our national anthem, please welcome from the University of Kentucky Opera Theater, Michael Priestley.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Let's hear it for Michael.
Kentucky crowd excited to have the Camping World Truck Series back here at the mile and a half. It's always bumper to bumper and door to door when the trucks make their way to the Bluegrass State. Stay with us. We fire the engines next here in Kentucky. The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series on Speed is brought to you by Camping World RV Sales. The best selection and best values on travel trailers, guaranteed. By Mobil 1, the world's leading synthetic motor oil brand. Put some NASCAR in your car with the one, Mobil 1. Brought to you in high definition by Funai. Funai, fun and innovative. Experience more at FunaiAmerica.com. And by Feed the Children and Speedway Children's Charities. Visit speedtofeed.org for more information. Welcome back to Kentucky Speedway. Let's go back trackside to Chris Devoda.
Well, there is something special in the air tonight. It might just be heat stroke from the extreme heat, but I think there's definitely a buzz and excitement. Some things to watch for tonight. Johnny Sauter, as we mentioned, on the pole looking for redemption after what happened to him in our last race in Texas. He has been fast all weekend. Keep your eye on him, and God bless America. And you know, this track, not really known as one that rewards first-time winners, but of our top 13 starters, 8 looking for their first win. It could happen tonight. And if you win this race, chances are you win the title. In 11 races, it has happened 6 times. So there is a lot going on. Actually, there's a lot going on down here at the track as the pre-race stage gets backed up off the track behind me. That means it's almost time to go racing. And also, we want to pass along our congratulations to one of our former series champs, Greg Biffle, and wife Nicole welcomed a baby daughter yesterday. Rick?
Thanks, Krista. Hello, everyone. Rick Allen, Phil Parsons, Michael Waltrip with you for our 10th race of the 2011 season. Now, if you've got a handicapped Kyle Busch, what do? You stick him in the back of the field, right?
Excellent.
He
Well,
did it to himself.
He did it to himself. He missed the driver's meeting. He'll have to start at the back. It's not unprecedented. We saw him win at Bristol doing that. But last year it happened to him because he had damage during qualifying, was only able to get back to 7th, could not quite overcome it. And it's a pretty challenging racetrack to do it.
Oh, man, this is such a great racetrack. There's bumps everywhere. You run low, you bounce around, you can go up high and make some ground up there. If you got to come from the back and you want to put on a show, this is the place to do it.
Well, speaking of putting on a show, our own Speed Channel spectacular announcer Kenny Wallace is here to give the command to start the engines. We go to Kenny.
It's time for the most famous words in motorsports. Please welcome NASCAR Nationwide Series driver and Speed TV personality Kenny Wallace. Drivers, start your engines! Woo!
All you can do is laugh. When Kenny Wallace gets excited, he gives a great command. The engines are fired, and we're ready to go racing at Kentucky Speedway.
Welcome back. University of Northwestern Ohio, 225 about to get underway here on Speed, your motorsports authority. Take a look at our temperature and weather here in Sparta, Kentucky. 85 degrees, 66% humidity. It has felt swelteringly hot all day long. Mostly cloudy is the forecast for this evening. Starting grid will roll across the top of your screen. Once again, it is Johnny Sauter leading the field to the green flag. It'll be his second pole of the 2011 season. Want to take a look at our KFC track description and race analysis. Phil?
We talk about it, Michael. Great racetrack with a lot of character. You see the numbers, 14-degree corners, banking in the corners, 8 degrees down the straightaway. But these harsh Midwestern winters do a number on this racetrack.
What I love about this track, Phil, is the fact that these guys have to have some experience to do well here. That's evident by the fact that only one guy under the age of 30 has ever won here. You're bouncing around a lot. You better have some experience to get her done here.
And that was Carl Edwards, and he's pretty good.
Yeah, he's done all right in his career.
He's done a few things in his career. We want to take a look at a few different drivers, find out a little bit more about them in tonight's Speed Spotlight. We'll start off with Ray Dunlap.
Well, Rick, last September when the press release came out, it said that Jack Smith had illegally brought drugs and that he was indefinitely suspended by NASCAR. But what that story didn't tell you was that a year and a half earlier, he had broken his neck in a racing accident and become addicted to pain medicine. Jack Smith used a prescription that was illegal, and he got caught. But he told me earlier today it was the greatest thing that ever happened to him in his life. After 4 months of rehab, Jack Smith is pain-free, his neck feels great, and tonight he's reinstated by NASCAR and going racing for the Mittler brothers. A great start to a brand new chapter in this young man's life. Hermie?
Well, Ray, Josh Richards makes his first ever Camping World Truck Series start tonight in the number 15 entry prepared by Kyle Busch Motorsports. Not sure who Josh Richards is? Well, he is a 2-time World of Outlaw late model champion. He's got a bus of about 60 people that made the trip from Shinston, West Virginia to watch him tonight. He'll run a total of about 11 races this year, some in the 15, some in the 18. And he's planning to go to Oklahoma tomorrow for a World of Outlaw race, but he is right now focused on career start #1 here at Kentucky. Phil?
Hermie, I want to take a look at 23-year-old John King from Kingsport, Tennessee. John started racing back in 2006 in the late models. He participated in the Bill Elliott Driver Development Program in 2009 while also beginning to race in the UARA Late Model Series. He finished 15th in points in that series last year while also making his debut in the Camping World Truck Series at Bristol with an impressive 15th place finish. He's making his 5th Truck Series start tonight in the Edward Jones Investment Toyota, and he will start this race, Michael, from the 19th spot.
Phil, have you ever asked yourself, where did Charlie Vest come from?
Yes.
Well, I've got the answer to that. Charlie is a 37-year-old graduate of the Central Florida short tracks. When you spend years winning on the short tracks of Central Florida in late models, you want to move up, you got to get going. And Charlie did that. First in ARCA, making his first of 7 starts here in Kentucky back in '09. And tonight, he's moving up to the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, making his debut from the 30th spot in the number 99 collegecomplete.com Ford. Go get him, Charlie.
Thanks, guys. We'll keep our eye on our spotlight participants. And now we will be racing under the lights at Kentucky Speedway. We've always got some great cameras that can give you the action. We'll also ride along with a few drivers. One of those will be Jennifer Jo Cobb. She starts in the 29th position and will carry the Ford onboard.
We're also going to ride along with 8-time winner here in the Camping World Truck Series, Brendan Gaughan. He's driving his number 62 South Point Toyota.
Check out Steve Arp in there in the Mike's Hard Lemonade truck. He's fired up to start from the 13th spot tonight.
Starting 10th, Cole Witt will carry the Funai on board. So those are our 4 onboard cameras.
You know, we talk about racing under the lights. You see all that sunshine coming in that cockpit? It's a challenge.
Want to take a look at our Walmart recipe for success tonight. What will it take to win here? What are the winning ingredients at this mile-and-a-half racetrack? We start with Ray.
Well, Rick, let's call it 1-2. I think that's the ingredient, because 24 times in this series we've had a team have drivers finish in first and in second place. Now, Roush Fenway has done it the most times, but Kevin Harvick Incorporated has been pretty impressive with 4 attempts. Tonight, I think there's a very good chance that one team could get a first and second. But it's never happened in this series to have a 1-2-3. And tonight, I believe KHI may be poised to set history. Hermie?
Well, Ray, to pull that off, they're going to have all their crew chiefs make the right call tonight. A lot of talk about the first time the Sprint Cup Series has ever been to Kentucky. The trucks have been here 10 times, but tonight this is a different racetrack. Goodyear's new tire, look at the groove of this racetrack. A lot of rubber has been put down, and the tire wear in practice has been very, very minimal. We've seen a lot of teams run their fastest lap 15, 20 laps into a run. Well, tonight we could see pit strategy, 2 tires, no tires, or fuel only be the winning call tonight. We'll have to wait and see. Rick?
Thank you very much, Hermie. That could be the Walmart recipe for success. Kyle Busch, again, didn't make it on time to the drivers' meeting. He has to go to the back of the field to start this race. Johnny Sauter brings the field to the green flag. He chose the outside line to see what he can do against Austin Dillon. They make up row number 1 as they work their way through the trial. But green flag in the air. We're underway in Kentucky.
Watch the 15 of Josh Richards. He jumped to the outside. You're supposed to stay in line till you get to start-finish line. I think his first lap of his first race in a Truck Series career may result in a black flag.
Yeah, he must not have heard about Johnny Sauter moving out of line for a restart down in Texas, so Josh will probably be black flag for that move.
It looked like he may have given the position back. He went clear up high, and we've got 4 wide as we go into turn number 3 the first time.
James Buescher slides up the racetrack, forces Cole Witt up even higher in the 60 truck.
Elliott Sadler with a good start gets in front of the 3 of Austin Dillon to take second away, and they're still 3 wide behind him.
3 wide and 2 rows of them, man. These guys are after it early.
Here's Brendan Gaughan in the South Point Toyota. We know he's not afraid of the high side of the racetrack.
Afraid of it? He loves it. That's where he wants to go.
He'll take the high groove again. Up front, it's Johnny Sauter. Elliott Sadler runs second. Runs a little higher line than Johnny Sauter as they work their way through 3 and 4. Behind them, 2 by 2 and sometimes rows of 3.
There we are again, 3 wide. We're hearing no penalty for Josh Richards, I think, by giving the lap back or the spot back. He was deemed okay.
What do you think his spotter said? Whoa, no, you can't do that, man. We talked about this.
Stop now. Let him by you.
Whoa, look how high Josh is. Is that him up out of the groove?
That is him.
Josh Richards in that 15.
We know he's used to running against the cushion in his his World of Outlaws Dirt late model series.
That's pretty impressive just to survive that little move he made.
The cushion at asphalt track is the wall, so I don't know if he wants to get that high.
You know, you might consider 2 strikes on Josh right now. A little bit of a rough start, high off the turn. You don't usually get 3, do you, Phil?
Sure don't.
7th, 8th, and 9th. Hornaday just in front of James Buescher and Jason White.
Good qualifying effort for Jason White. Really has struggled somewhat this year. New situation for him with his Gunbroker team, but he's looking better and better and better tonight.
Oh,
Johnny, sideways!
All over the back of that 13, and sideways goes Sauter. Now a battle for the lead. Dillon's going to take it at the stripe. Elliott Sadler sitting in second.
How about that three-way sideways battle for the lead here at Kentucky?
Well, I could not believe how sideways Johnny Sauter was. That truck has been so good from the time they unloaded it.
Elliott Sadler used that high groove to drive right around Austin Dillon and grab the lead. Great move by Elliott Sadler.
So Sadler takes over the point. Austin Dillon running second. Johnny Sauter back to third. Take another look at what just happened.
See, Elliott pulled right up beside of John, or right up on the tailgate of Johnny, got him a little bit loose. Did a nice job saving that truck.
Yeah, and you know who else did a nice job? What about Elliott Sadler? He just sat there and watched all that with his foot on the floorboard. Said, I hope you hang on to it, Johnny.
Ray Dunlap.
Loose, 7.5. That's what came across Johnny Sauter's radio. That means he's completely sideways, and on a scale of 1 to 10, 7.5. That's not good news for Joe Shearer, the crew chief.
Well, Ray, would you tell Joe that we would call it a 10 up here?
No problems. Justin Marks in the 66 is into the wall. And there was a truck just in front of him that we saw also involved in this.
That's Johanna Long, the 20 truck. A lot of damage to the left rear of that truck.
On lap 7 of 150, Justin Marks, Johanna Long involved in the first incident on the track.
That's we talked about 3 strikes. That's Justin's second spin today, and first one he looked like survived it pretty well. This one's going to be more damage than that team can probably affect to make him competitive.
Yeah, a lot of damage to Johanna's truck as well.
These two are racing for 28th.
It looked like initially that they were apart. There could have been some contact before we caught that.
Yeah, I'd say they must have gotten together. You can see the right front of the 66 truck. The letters are rubbed off that Goodyear Eagle. Maybe there was some contact from the right front to
the left rear of Johanna's
and that got
truck.
her.
They'll assess the damage to Johanna Long's race truck. They've got her on pit road.
I think they're talking about the rear clip being bent down so much on that truck, and that more than could be terminal for her.
Definitely will be a trip to the garage. I don't believe they can fix it well enough there on pit road.
Out in front of the field, it's Elliott Sadler, the guy who's moved the most since the drop of the green flag. Has to be the 18 of Kyle Busch. He's up to the 19th spot. Tomorrow, the biggest party in racing hits high gear in the Bluegrass State. Tune in as Daytona winner David Reagan and track owner Bruton Smith join the fun. Don't miss NASCAR Trackside from Kentucky tomorrow, 11 Eastern, right here on Speed, your motorsports authority. So our first caution comes out when we've got problems between Johanna Long and Justin Marks. It has been a very warm weekend here in Kentucky. You see the fans outside of, well, the fans in front of the fans here at the racetrack. Elliott Sadler out in front of the field. He was able to get by Austin Dillon when Johnny Sauter got a little bit loose. Coming out of turn number 4, they race to the start-finish line. Mike Garvey will get a lap back as he is the Aaron's Lucky Dog recipient.
It's interesting. Johnny Sauter talked about his truck being so loose, a 7.5, which I don't know how you get that. You know, 7 or an 8, I could go with 7.5 anyway, but elected not to pit. Obviously, this is not the time to do it, hoping that his truck will come around a little bit.
This is a guy that's pitted a couple of times, feels some damage to the front end of that 17 truck. Ray, what are they saying down there in the pit?
Well, Michael, what they were really worried about was overheating this truck because they slapped a bunch of tape on it right as he came in. They said, no, let's look this thing over and make sure we're right. He got involved in that last crash. He was right up on the back side of those trucks that went around, and that's what caused the damage on the front quarter panels there. So they wanted to make sure that they hadn't taped it closed and then overheat the engine.
They continue to work on the 17 of Timothy Peters. They'll get him back out onto the racetrack. We'll take a 60-second break and we'll be right back for the green flag.
It's Camping World's Destination Recreation.
Today on Destination Recreation, I'm going to introduce you to a unit from Dutchman called the Voltage. Now, we have propane storage up front. We've got lots of storage underneath for all of your fun things. But this unit is going to change everything you ever knew about toy haulers. This is the main entrance, and as the kitchen slides out, it reveals the great entertainment area, which is directly underneath the awning. Now, on the sides, they've got this chip-proof paint protector, which I really like. More storage here, and in the back, the entranceway to where you're going to put your toys. But to me, it's the interior that really blew me away. When I come to the interior of the Voltage, it kind of reminds me of staying at the Ritz-Carlton. Check out the ceiling, 7'7". We got beautiful lighting fixtures, a great bar. This place is nicer than my house. And how about the banquette? Room for 6 or 7 people to hang out before you go play with your toys. But what's really amazing to me is the incredible master bedroom. Look at the size and the space of this area. Room for you to sleep a couple of people up at the top of the back of the toy hauler. There's a master bathroom by the master bedroom and an additional bath here for everyone to use at the back of the toy hauler. But my favorite spot is in the back. All right. So you've got sleeping room for 6 or 7 up in the front compartment. But back in the toy hauler at night, we've got double bunk beds and a space for you to put the kids, or at least your mother-in-law, right? When you get done playing and you're ready to go home, you just hit the switch, and guess what? The bunk beds go away. They go all the way up to the ceiling, and that opens up your 9x12 space here in the back of the toy hauler for you to put your snowmobiles, your ATVs, your motorcycles, whatever it was you brought to play. This is absolutely, in my opinion, the best toy hauler on the market.
And welcome back to Kentucky Speedway.
That wasn't 2 or 3 toy haulers. I've never seen anything with so much space.
He kept going.
And I've been to Ray's house, and he's right. It is nicer than his.
Take a look at all these campers. I tell you, when they announced that a cup race was going to be here, I think people just started lining up saying, okay, where can we get tickets and how can we get in here to get our campers ready to watch the truck race, the cup race, and the nationwide race. We are back underway. Green flag back in the air. Elliott Sadler shows the high line. Problems again for Austin Dillon on the restart.
Yeah, Johnny Sauter was able to jump to the outside of Austin Dillon. Now it's 3 wide. Joey Coulter on the very outside in the 22 RCR truck.
I think Johnny Sauter forgot his truck was 7.5 loose. He got in the middle of 2 trucks, and he's staying there, Phil.
You're going to race Joey Coulter down into turn number 3. Johnny drives it in there hard.
Johnny Sauter is going to have second. Takes it away from the 22 of Joey Coulter.
Oh, it's going way high.
Way out in front is Elliott Sadler. He's already got a big lead.
3 wide racing let Elliott drive away from these cats. Got him a nice little cushion there. But there's no cushion here.
3 wide the middle here. You good, side back up.
Look at Jason White digging down on the bottom. Travis Quapple up on the top side.
Moving out of line. You see the 31 of James Busher trying to get by Austin Dillon.
Austin hasn't quite recovered from the very initial restart. James Busher slides up the racetrack right in front of Austin. Now he's going to go high.
Dillon looks back down to the bottom of the racetrack. Here comes the 88 of Matt Kraft, and he's going to go by on the outside, as does the 33 of Ron Hornaday.
You know, it looks like a little bit more than maybe just getting some debris on his tires, because it's persisted here for several laps.
But he's been able to dive up under Hornaday there as they exit turn 2. We saw Kyle Busch start last, had made his way into the top 20 before that first caution flag up on the outside of the 46 truck of Justin Lofton. And there's Miguel Paludo looking under David Starr. This is what you're going to get, Phil, if you're back in the pack. 3-4 wide racing.
Kyle's going to the top to make it 3 wide here to try to get by 2 trucks, and he's got them both.
Takes the position away.
How about that run he got off that corner? He got it up high, left his foot in it, and it looked like he was shot out of a cannon off that turn.
Battle for second on the right of your screen. Johnny Sauter, Joey Coulter.
I'll tell you, that 22 truck of Joey Coulter has been impressive. He keeps learning and learning, getting better and better. Last 2 times out, top 5 finishes both times.
Look how fast he is through the center of the corner. You can see him pull right up on Johnny Sauter. That's a sign of a good handling truck. You get that thing through the middle of the corner, it fixes a whole lot of other problems that you might have.
Things have changed quickly for Johnny Sauter. After sliding, getting the tail end to come out from behind him and losing the lead, it seems as though now he's almost mortal. He was so good in practice earlier, qualifying, grabs the pole, and now he's got his hands full with Joey Coulter.
in the first incident that brought out our first caution. Johanna Long was involved, and she's with Hermie Sadler.
Yeah, Johanna Long waiting patiently to speak with us. Early into your night, I know it's disappointing. Tell us what happened.
It is really disappointing. Me and the 66 were just racing really hard. I don't know if I came down on him or he just hit a bump or what happened. It's a racing deal. It just really stinks for our guys. We've been working so hard to get this truck fixed from Texas, and knowing we're not going to be able to run Nashville or Iowa coming up, we had to start back at LOR, but hopefully we can get some sponsors so we can run all the rest of the races this year, and hopefully we can make that happen. We're just really struggling right now.
That's Johanna Long. It's caution on the Speedway. Issues with the 88, Rick.
Yeah, looks like 88 slow on the racetrack, but no debris has come off of the truck, at least that we can tell.
They were there for a minute, guys.
Sounds like an engine problem, doesn't it, Phil?
Sure does.
Talk like that. They knew we were here. That means he doesn't think they're going to be around anymore. It's quite amazing. You know, you look at Matt Crafton. We talk about him just being a top 10 guy. 3 straight finishes outside the top 10. Now this will be.
Oh yeah, he was big.
This will be number 4, 4th finish outside the top 10,
Yeah,
and this one's terminal.
Yeah, and he was running 6th. So tough break for Matt Crafton.
Disappointment for Thor Sport once again. This time it's Matt Crafton with problems. Saturday NASCAR race day rocks Kentucky. Joey Logano joins us live to discuss his recent success in the Bluegrass State. Plus, fresh off his Daytona win, we'll break down the roller coaster career of David Reagan. NASCAR race day built by the Home Depot, live from Kentucky Saturday, 4:30 Eastern, and here on Speed. Pit stops have taken place for a few different trucks, but one of the problems, the 88 of Matt Crafton. Hermie.
Yeah, Matt, back in the garage, guys, looking under the hood. Can you tell us what happened?
She done blowed up. That's all it did. I mean, come out the bottom. I mean, gave me no warning at all. This was weird. I picked up the throttle, and just I come off turn 4, it blew up. I mean, it's a shame because, I mean, we didn't have a whole lot of speed in the truck throughout the day. I mean, this Menard Chevy was, I mean, it was so fast when we dropped the green. And, I mean, I think we definitely had something for him because, I mean, I wasn't doing anything really crazy to get there, and the thing was really good. It's a shame. These guys worked really hard. This is a brand new truck. They put in a lot of hours to get this thing here this weekend, and I hate it for them.
That's Matt Crafton. Disappointing finish for him. 2 weeks in a row, Ray.
Well, you know, Hermie, I was telling you about how loose Sauter was. They wanted to make a big adjustment for him. So on lap 18, Johnny Sauter brought that Safe Auto Chevrolet down, went down around on the track bar, and also put a 1 round of wedge into the left rear. That should help him for sure to tighten that thing up. Now, Austin Dillon wanted to come down pit road because they felt like they needed an air pressure adjustment. The guy ran out and actually did it without changing the tires, and they also put fuel in there. Now, for the 33 of Ron Hornaday, it was a fuel-only stop. They wanted to come down and try to extend the window in case this race goes green. So apparently you had to have a 3 in your number in order to pit, because 23, Jason White also came down to get fuel only that time too. So apparently if you had a 3, you wanted to pit. Rick?
And the field making their way back into the tri-oval. Again, Elliott Sadler out front. Green flag back in the air. Joey Coulter was on the inside.
There goes Josh Richards again. Is that the 3rd strike?
Yeah, you can't do that now. we taught him not. We told him at the start, don't do that. We got to black flag him. Make sure he understands.
Nelson Piquet Jr. out on the outside, battling for the 3rd spot.
The top 5 trucks stayed on the racetrack that time.
Josh was thinking, man, there's so much room up there, though.
Yeah, unfortunately, NASCAR's going to slap his wrist on this when they are posting him. They will bring him to pit road for a drive-through penalty.
Side by side for 2nd. Nelson Piquet Jr. in the 8 on the outside. Joey Coulter in the 22 on the inside. And then they're side by side back behind him for 4th.
James Busher now moves up into the 4th spot. That's Jason White, Austin Dillon racing for 5th back there. Both those trucks came to pit road, as Ray reported.
Top 4 stayed out on the racetrack. Jason White and back came on to pit road.
Man, those guys carry a lot of speed through the center of that corner. You can see Jason White. It didn't look like he ever got it turned, and he was back. Looked like wide open in the gas trying to find his way around. I think it cost him some momentum off that turn. But nevertheless, there's all kinds of different ways you can drive this big, fast Kentucky track.
There's the 15 of Josh Richards. He's slowing down because he'll have to
pass through penalty. Just drive all the way down pit road, but do not speed.
That's what you
heard.
Here
we go again. You see him jump to the outside left of our screen there. He's passed 2. There's 3, 4,
5, 6.
5, 6, actually.
No, don't you think maybe he'll look at that and say, man, I should have known those other guys weren't doing that for some reason.
It looks so good to be out there.
Now he's just got to make sure he doesn't make a mistake. A rookie, you know, guy making his first start trying to figure all this out, doesn't make a mistake on pit road and come down through there too fast and get another penalty. He can overcome this one. He's got a decent truck. Stay a lap down and maybe get an Aaron's lucky dog. So just don't want to make another mistake here.
And he's one of the trucks that did pit. So if he gets a caution anytime soon, he could possibly do a wave around if everyone comes to pit road. But so many trucks pitted on lap number 19. I don't think we'll see trucks come to pit road, or certainly all of them, if we get a caution anytime soon, though.
That's what's cool about racing these days, Phil. You keep more guys in the game because you have a wave around, you have the lucky dog. There's a lot of different ways to get back in the game.
Kyle Busch has made it up to the battle for the 6th spot. Austin Dillon on the inside, Kyle Busch on the outside, and it looks as though Busch is going to take 6th away from Dillon.
Pretty good comeback for Kyle Busch. And oh, by the way, he also pitted on lap number 19. So start at the back of the pack. We're 25 laps into the race. He's made a pit stop, and now he's racing again with Austin Dillon for the 6th spot.
Dillon takes it back away from him on the inside of the racetrack.
It's going to be hard to beat him like that. It's going to be really hard to beat him like that.
Not sure whose radio that was.
I think that was Andy Houston, Austin's spotter, talking about it being difficult to pass Kyle on the inside when Kyle has that momentum on the outside. Austin's hanging in there, though.
Yeah, Austin saw Kyle Busch slide up the corner, up the track. You see it bouncing up the hill there a little bit, and he tried to take advantage of it, but they're side by side, as are Cole Witt and Johnny Sauter just behind those guys.
Sauter makes the pass on Cole Witt as we see Kyle Busch back in front of the 3 of Austin Dillon. Out in front of the field, Elliott Sadler, just in front of Nelson Piquet Jr., then Joey Coulter, James Buescher, and Jason White. They're your top 5.
Check out this battle for the lead. Nelson Piquet Jr. down low. He's able to clip the corner a little bit lower than Elliott Sadler, and thought he was going to get up beside him off turn 2 last time.
Yeah, KHI teammates too, Michael.
Running 1 and 2. Elliott Sadler in front.
Be fun to listen to those two have a conversation.
Elliott Sadler now is running about 0.2 of a second off the pole speed. So that's how fast this racetrack is, and that's how good these tires are. We talked about the fact that these tires aren't falling off a whole lot.
Nelson Piquet is going to be looking to improve his career best finish. To do that, he'll have to get to victory lane. He finished 2nd at Nashville earlier this season.
Looks like he tried to move up the hill a little bit, use a different line. I think that's what people love about racing here, Phil, is there's all kinds of options. Look how wide that black groove is. You can see it's 3 trucks wide, and we've already seen a couple of trucks out in the white without crashing. So if your truck isn't working in one part of the corner, move it around to a different part.
Remember, this is the first time, obviously, that the Cup cars have been here, and they've had essentially a test session today. We talked about it during our qualifying show. So there have been thousands and thousands of laps of rubber put down on this racetrack. So this is a lot more rubber on this racetrack than these truck racers are used to seeing when they come here.
The track looks way different than I remember seeing it. It's usually really white everywhere, and like you said, Phil, the track is really, these tires that Goodyear has brought really has taken to the road, and it's making it a different track for these guys to understand.
Kyle Busch able to get back by the 3 of Austin Dillon. Those two continue to battle for that 6th position. Busch has it now.
Austin's continuing to run the bottom of the racetrack, has a good handling truck, not quite able to get up beside Kyle that time.
Now you saw a graphic that came up that said Kyle Busch started 36th. That was because he missed the drivers meeting. He qualified 8th, and that's where he would have started if he would have been to the drivers meeting on time.
And remember, now we talk about the Sprint Cup cars having a test session. The Sprint Cup cars practiced right up until the time of the drivers meeting, and I'm sure more than likely Kyle was debriefing with his crew chief in the Sprint Cup car and probably just forgot that it was right away and didn't get there.
And Kyle actually slid through the grass in that practice session as well. So I'm sure there was quite a few things they wanted to talk about before he went over to the drivers meeting. Elliott Sadler in front of Nelson Piquet Jr. in Kentucky. Wednesday, Adam Carolla brings his serious love of cars and his seriously funny point of view to speed with the Car Show, and nothing is off limits. The Car Show premieres this Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, only on Speed, your Motorsports Authority. Want to do a top 10 drop back, beginning with our race leader, Elliott Sadler and Ray Dunlap.
Well, guys, a lot of times it's the equipment that KHI brings to the racetrack. And how about this truck that Elliott Sadler has tonight? It's run twice this year. At Kansas City, it went to Victory Lane with Clint Boyer driving. And at Charlotte, it finished second. That's a pretty good pedigree. And Elliott Sadler's got it out front. Hermie?
Well, Ray, Nelson Piquet Jr. is having a career night so far. He's driven his way up to second. He's actually faster when he's not in traffic than Elliott Sadler. But once he got close to the back bumper of the 2 truck, he's starting to pick up a little bit of a push. So they're trying to talk him away to find a clean air on the nose of that 8 truck to try to battle the 2 for the race lead. Ray?
You know, I think it's really been the testing program that has made the biggest difference this year for Joey Coulter. In the last 3 races, he has been absolutely fantastic. And the real point of it is, he said it's the communication that he learned with his crew chief, Harold Hawley, about how to give him precise information, not just general information. Lots more conversation on the radio, and this 22 truck has been up to the front. Hermie?
Ray, James Busher is now 4th on the racetrack. They did not pit on this last caution, but he is complaining about his truck being really, really tight, especially in turns 1 and 2. On the next caution, they're hoping to come down pit road and free this truck up, because this truck has been really strong on the 1.5 miles. Ray?
When you look back through the field just a little bit further, you'll see Jason White, and Jason White said that it's really the testing thing turned his program around too. His truck was dragging so much at each of the racetracks, and he just couldn't figure out what the problem was. Well, they went to Rockingham and did a test, and Ron Hornaday came to help. They learned a lot of things about how to get that truck better, sent it back to KHI. They made some adjustments, and boy, has it been different. All through the weekend here, he said the thing just rolls through the corner exactly the way he wants it. Now, how about the 3 right behind him of Austin Dillon? They've got NRA sponsorship on the side of that truck tonight. And in practice, he said he felt like his truck was absolutely perfect going in, a little bit loose off. But he said on the radio earlier he can't believe how different this racetrack is tonight from the way it was during practice. Hermie?
Well, Ray, we talked about Kyle Busch qualifying 8th, but having to start this race at the tail of the field because he missed the pre-race drivers meeting. Well, he's got a decent truck, but he does not have a winning truck. Turns 3 and 4 is his shortfall right now. He's too loose on entry, losing a lot of speed through the 3 and 4 ends of this racetrack. Ray?
Garbage sideways. That's how Johnny Sauter talks about his truck on the radio, says it has no control at all. And when he comes off, he's got the steering wheel going in every direction. Garbage sideways is not a lot of encouraging news for his crew chief, Joe Shear. Right behind them, the number 60 of Cole Witt. Cole Witt is driving chassis number 84. It's been the workhorse for this team. And he said he felt like they had a top 5 truck tonight, but they just never were able to get it good enough. And we've got a battle up front for the lead. Looks like the 8 truck is making a move.
Nelson Piquet Jr. on the inside of the racetrack trying to get by Elliott Sadler. He gets in behind the 15 of Josh Richards. That allows Sadler to move back by the 8 of Nelson Piquet Jr. But what a run that 8 had on Sadler.
He sure does. Hey, Nelson Piquet Jr. has been extremely impressive to me this entire season. Had that great runner up finish at Nashville. He wants more.
Hermie Sadler.
Yeah, Rick, we want to finish out our top 10 drop back. Give you a word about Ron Hornaday Jr. He was loose on entry. They came in on lap 19 for fuel only and made a track bar adjustment. And you're right, they went too far. He's now fighting a tight condition, especially on exit. So they're hoping for the next caution to come back in, take some of that adjustment back out, and get Ron back up closer to the top 5.
You know, guys, we talked about how good these Goodyear tires were here and that they weren't falling off much. Remember, the top 4 trucks running right now have not pitted yet. And everyone else pitted on lap number 19. But the bad part of that is we've completed 45 laps. Remember, they qualified, did not top them off, had pace laps. These guys are very close to coming down pit road.
And here another run by Nelson Piquet Jr. closing in on that 2 of Elliott Sadler. You know, this is the most laps that Elliott Sadler has ever led in a race. His previous high
10 laps away from pitting under green
was 32. That was in Daytona right before our own Michael Waltrip went by him for the win.
Glad it wasn't 33.
Got too slow until the head.
So Nelson Piquet Jr. has been able to close the gap a few different times against Elliott Sadler. The problem is he hasn't been able to make the pass. Listen, Allgaier. checking out behind pit road. Racing under the lights at Kentucky Speedway. Stay with us. More here on Speed. Welcome back. Elliott Sadler has decided to give up the lead to come on to pit road. We've gone 30 laps under green since the last caution came out. So Elliott on pit road now.
New pit road here. They've moved pit road actually closer to the
grandstands.
Straightaway.
Right.
Grandstands, right?
They're taking a half a pound of air pressure out of the left front and just a little bit less out of the left rear. Elliott said he wants his truck to cut just a little bit better, but on the radio he said overall it feels pretty comfy. They go around 4 tire stop, fuel in it, and he'll be away. Good stop for the 2 bunch.
You know, you talked about 30-some laps since the caution flag, but that's the first time Elliott Sadler had been down pit road. So some great speed, great times on his truck late in that run, Phil. And these teams will make note of that. We're a third of the way through this, baby. They know the tires will run that far and still run really fast. So a lot of information being gathered by the teams while these trucks make laps. Here comes Nelson Piquet Jr. to pit road. His turn to try to get that thing rode down. He's got to get it down to the pit road speed by that yellow line there. Looked like he did a good job of doing so. A little bit out of control at first, but he got it gathered up.
45 miles per hour on pit road. Hermie.
Nelson Piquet Jr. gives up the race lead to come down pit road. He really loves his truck. The only adjustments he's made on the racetrack is with air blowers on the right rear tire. He's bounced back and forth between a little bit loose and a little bit tight. There'll be no adjustments on this stop. One piece of tape off the right front grille, 4 tires, and Sunoco fuel. Nelson Piquet Jr. had a good truck so far tonight.
Plucked a little bit of tape off the front of that baby. Usually as the sun goes down, they'll have maybe a little bit too much tape early, knowing that it'll cool off and that'll be good for later. They must have missed it a little bit, took some air off that, or excuse me, some tape off. That'll change the aerodynamics of that truck a little bit. Be interesting to see if it's a plus or a minus for Nelson.
These pit stops
soon enough.
Yeah, these pit stops have given the lead to Joey Coulter in the 22 truck. That's a battle for the 3rd spot right there. Jason White, who's having a great run in the Gunbroker Chevrolet.
Yeah, best finish this season of 10th, but here a year ago he was 4th. So
exactly.
He likes this track, and there's your leader on pit road.
Coulter gives up the lead, and as does James Busher. He comes off of the racetrack as well. Now the battle for the lead is on the right side of your screen. We'll go down to pit road and Ray.
Just a little bit free for Joey Coulter. They said they were thinking about taking a big swing at this thing, thinking that the racetrack is going to get worse throughout the course of the night. And Harold Hawley said no, little adjustments here. Air pressure also on the left side, a lot like the 2 did. Hermie?
Yeah, the 31 of James Busher just completed his pit stop back on pit road. 4 tires, Sunoco fuel, and a half pound out of the left side tires.
Right side of your screen, that is for the lead. Jason White on the high side. Looks like he has to catch the truck. That allows the 3 of Austin Dillon to move into the top spot.
Those guys were battling that lap traffic 2 times across the start finish.
Whoa, Jason.
The hole closes as you see Austin Dillon go through, and now around goes the 16. John King sideways. Caution flag will fly.
Boy, that wreck started a long time before it ever happened, didn't it?
Boy, it sure did.
Jason thought he was going to be able to shoot the gap on those trucks, put John in a bit of a bind, and John finally lost control of that number 16 truck.
I think we'll see everybody else come to pit road, and that should allow the trucks that pitted, Elliott Sadler, James Busher, and all those guys, those 4 trucks that pitted just in the last 2 or 3 laps, they should be able to get the wave around and get back on the tail end of the lead lap.
Joey Coulter, Nelson Piquet Jr. amongst those 4 that had just come on to pit road.
Still going to cost them a lot of their track position.
Sure is.
They'll be behind for a while. Still a lot of racing left to go, though.
Austin Dillon had just gone in between the 16 and the 93. That gap closed, and then the 16 of John King goes around.
Yeah, Jason did a nice job avoiding John King. Let's take another look at it. Here there. This is the battle going down the backstretch. Watch Austin Dillon shoot the gap there. Jason wanted to go through there, but the hole closed.
Jason said there's a lot of room there when Austin went through. I think I'll go with him, but there wasn't any room, and they all just sort of had to check up and maybe make some moves to. I'm sure the spotter was in John King's ear saying, hey man, you got one looking, and that messes up your rhythm, and the thing got away from him. You have to understand that's how close to out of control these cats are every lap. You know, they run right on the edge of control, and John had to get away from him.
In qualifying earlier, we saw trucks making it upwards of 174 miles an hour around this racetrack. That's the average. So They are definitely hauling it here in Kentucky.
And you got some guys, Rick, that have been to pit road. We saw Elliott Sadler, our leader, come to pit road. Nelson Piquet Jr. Those guys will get to go around on the wave around as these other trucks pit, I'm sure. But they'll have to fight for the back now, just like Kyle did earlier.
That's right. But when we went to the double file restarts and they started the wave around, and that's fairly new to our sport. But right now, if you're running a lap down and everybody in front of you that's on the lead lap comes to pit road, then you will be able to hold your position, and then when we get ready to restart, they will allow you to go past the pace car and catch up with the back of the pack.
Making sure that the truck that has scored #1 is going to be in front of every other truck.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. It took us 50 years to figure it out, but it's so cool now, because remember how the restarts used to get all jumbled up every now and then? The leader might be running 8th or 10th. Now the leader's always first. Everything in front of him is cleaned out of the way.
Here comes some trucks onto pit road. We go to Hermie Sadler.
Yeah, Kyle Busch brings his truck to pit road. He's been loose on entry. It'll be 4 tires, Sunoco fuel, and a slight air pressure adjustment for Kyle Busch. Ray?
At the top of the screen, you see Austin Dillon. They were going for 4, but they say audible. Let's go 2 tires only. We found this out in practice, that these tires will go for a long, long time. They'll go 2 tires, and Dillon will be away. Should be a fast stop. On the other end, Johnny Sauter said, maybe we have a tire problem. We've got to go with 4 down here. They go with 4 tires, a track bar adjustment, trying to tighten his truck up. And at the end, they decided to go with 4 for Austin Dillon. It took a long time, and he's going to lose about 12 or 13 spots.
Yeah, actually, Austin's being shown losing 6 positions. Jason White will come out in the 6th spot, and he will lose 2 spots. Ray?
Well, Phil, apparently, see, the hose got stuck there. As they dropped the jack, the hose was underneath the right rear tire. So as they did that, then they couldn't get it out, so they came around and said, well, now we're already stuck here. And Danny called it and said, do 4 tires. So once they get to 4 tires and Austin drives away, he'll let that hose come loose. So because they dropped the jack so quickly, the hose got stuck under the right rear.
I'm just always amazed when a pit stop goes off without a hitch like that. All those moving parts and pieces, 20-something lug nuts on, 20 off. I mean, it's amazing. Air hoses, jacks, people running every which way, but these guys make it look routine.
Yeah, and that's repetition. They practice this each and every week.
Kyle Busch won the race off of pit road with a 15-second pit stop. So pretty impressive for Kyle Busch. Looking to close in on 100 wins in NASCAR. Around goes the 16 of John King, bringing our most recent caution. Welcome back. University of Northwestern Ohio 225 here on Speed, your motorsports authority. Field back in line. 4 trucks took the wave around. It was Elliott Sadler, Nelson Piquet Jr., Joey Coulter, and James Buescher there at the tail end of the lead lap trucks. And as they come back to the start-finish line, green flag goes in the air. It's Kyle Busch out in front of Johnny Sauter as they cross the stripe.
Johnny Sauter got a solid start. Looked like Kyle tried to crowd his way down to get a little momentum off Johnny Sauter. Johnny wasn't having any of that.
Johnny hugs right next to the yellow line there at the bottom of the racetrack.
One thing I noticed on that restart, Josh Richards stayed in line.
See?
Battle for the lead. Johnny Sauter looked to the inside, wasn't able to get by that 18, and now Kyle Busch has the lead.
And look who's surfaced in that 3rd spot. Ron Hornaday lurking just inside the top 10 so far tonight, but now he's up to 3rd. 4-time champion, winner of our last event. Looks like he's got his truck the way he wants it, Phil.
Looks like Parker Kligerman's truck's pretty good too, Michael. Saw it moved by a truck on the inside, moved by Jason White in the 23 truck.
So we got a couple of Chevys, a Toyota, and a Dodge up in the front. Is that right?
That's right.
Miguel Paludo in the 7, looking at the high line, trying to get by that 23 of Jason White. As he does that, the 3 of Austin Dillon moves to the bottom of the racetrack to try to get by the 7.
Boy, Austin's like the bottom of the racetrack. He's been there this entire race. We saw him race with Kyle Busch lap after lap. Austin on the bottom, Kyle on the top.
He eventually wrestled that position away from Kyle, was able to make that low line work, and it looks like he's got the same idea on Miguel.
Top 2 trucks starting to pull away from the field. Kyle Busch in front of Johnny Sauter. We heard earlier Kyle Busch made the comment, I don't have a winning truck tonight. Well, it's in front of the field.
Yeah, but look who's heating him up. Johnny Sauter's not giving him he's not been able to pull away from Johnny at all. So it tells me that maybe Johnny's truck's a little bit better than Kyle's right now. If he could just somehow squeeze that position away from him, maybe drives away from Kyle Busch.
And good news for Johnny Sauter, too. We know how loose he was at the start of this race. He was a 7.5 on a scale of 10.
Must be better.
Just behind these two, the 33 of Ron Hornaday. Cole Witt and Parker Kligerman are your top 5. Then Jason White, Austin Dillon, Miguel Paludo, Justin Lofton, David Starr, your top 10.
Austin trying to get by Miguel Paludo in that battle for 6th, right side of your screen. Look at Johnny goes to the bottom, but look at the run that Kyle gets through the center of the corner.
I love watching these trucks bounce around. I know if you're a young race car driver, maybe you're thinking, this isn't how you're supposed to race, but man, it's so cool. You've got to be able to adapt, adjust, find somewhere else to put your truck. I was reading the stats for this race. You know, the last 7 races here, no one under the age of 45 has won it.
It's incredible, isn't it? And only once under the age of 30.
Makes me want to race. I'm old. I can have a shot at this thing, baby.
Joey Coulter was able to get by in the 22. Now we still continue to see the side-by-side battle between Austin Dillon and Miguel Paludo. Paludo on the high side. Austin Dillon's going to take the position away now. So Dillon moves up into the 7th spot.
Austin had a nice run through the center of the corner that was able to give him enough gap to clear Miguel by the time they came off at turn 2 and able to move up the racetrack.
Max Pappas in the 9 on the high side. He's got the inside.
James Fisher makes the move. Here comes Joey Coulter, is going to drive underneath Max as well. You know, I like the fact that that 3 truck will run down low like that. If he can ever get the track position like he had when he started the race, he might be able to stay there using that lower line when no one else can run there. That's what seems to be so cool about his truck. He can do some things that other guys can't.
Saw Joey Coulter just a moment ago. He ran that lower line as well. Another one of the RCR trucks. Very similar setup on those trucks, quite possibly.
Battle for 6 continues. Austin Dillon looks to the inside of Jason White now. White has the spot. Dillon trying to take it away. So we're closing in on the halfway point. We've had 7 different trucks out in front of this race.
Austin has that spot. He moves up to that 6th spot.
The 10 of Jennifer Jo Cobb into the wall. Caution comes out once again.
She's able to keep that truck running.
I will never, ever, ever drive it again.
I don't think Jennifer likes that truck.
She used about as many evers as Kenny Wallace used yours in the Command earlier.
Yo. What was that all about?
I'm not sure.
I love Kenny Wallace. I think he's a little bit excited for that job tonight.
Kenny's always a little bit excited.
She's not happy right now with the window net either. So difficult times for Jennifer Jo Cobb. She gets into the wall on lap 72.
That will allow those 4 trucks that had to take the wave around to get them some better track position. Here's another shot of what happened to Jennifer. See right there running alone in between a couple trucks. Makes some contact with the left rear as well as the left front corner of that truck. And we heard her say that she will never, ever, ever drive this particular truck again.
And look, she isn't doing anything wrong, Phil. That's just how out of control that thing was. She rolled down in the corner. It just didn't stick, and around it went.
Off the gas. She didn't try to get back in the throttle too early or anything. She was just coasting through the center of the corner and lost the back end.
So a tough night for Jennifer Jo Cobb. In the 10, she was a lap down, and now off the racetrack. Stay with us. We'll be back to Kentucky Speedway for more of the Unoh 225. Speed's coverage of the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series is brought to you in high definition by Funai. Funai, fun and innovative. Experience more at FunaiAmerica.com. By KFC. Today is a KFC day, and today tastes so good. By Fram. Fram filters help make sure failure is not part of your engine's life. Don't fail your engine. Use Fram. And by Aaron's. You don't need credit. All you need is Aaron's.
You don't need no stinking credit.
A lot of renovations made to Kentucky Speedway.
A lot of grandstands added, and there's going to be someone in every seat is a nice way to say that.
40,000 seats added, and they've sold every single one of them for Saturday night.
And man, just driving those Cup cars around there today, it won't disappoint you Saturday night. It's going to be wild.
And look at all the campers in the infield. And remember, there's more room now in the infield because they moved the inside wall on the backstretch right out to the racetrack. There used to be a lot of room down there, so they've opened up quite a bit of room and space for campers in the infield, as well as moving, as we talked earlier, pit road out closer to the grandstand. So that's it's really opened this infield up.
We talked about Max Pappas getting the Aaron's Lucky Dog. And we also talked about campers in the infield. The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. Do you think maybe those folks knew where their people were?
Marcus Lemonis was a pretty smart guy when he thought, I think there's a lot of campers in this sport.
And Max did not need any credit to get that lap back.
No stinking credit at all.
Let's get a few updates. We go to pit road and Ray Dunlap.
Well, just to let you know, a few guys have decided to do fuel-only stops. I saw the 22 of Joey Coulter come down. They put fuel-only in. Todd Bodine was also down here. He had fuel and made a shock adjustment, and also Brendan Gaughan. So those three drivers getting off strategy a little bit on their fuel stops. That was lap 72 when they pitted. Should have at least a 10-lap advantage over the guys who pitted around lap 62. Hermie?
Yeah, Ray, the 31 of James Busher came back to pit road. Also, on lap 72, they put 4 sticker tires on this time. They put scuffs on the prior stop. He did not like those quite as good. So James Busher is back on the racetrack full of Sunoco fuel with 4 sticker tires.
And again, a few trucks made their way onto pit road. A little indecision by the 29 team.
Yeah, he basically made his way to pit road. And that's at the last second. I'm sure they called it off, said stay out, and he was able to get back on the racetrack and not cross the commitment line.
No penalty there. He'll restart in 5th spot just like he was supposed to. You're right, Phil.
Kyle Busch, Johnny Sauter making up row number 1 as they come to the stripe. Green flag back in the air.
Johnny hangs tough on the inside, pulls right up aside. Kyle, the side draft off him.
Johnny hugging the yellow line as they work their way through 1 and 2. The momentum to the 18 of Kyle Busch.
Ron Hornaday said he would change lanes, and Cole Whitt wasn't having any of it. He said, I'm holding this spot there, Ron.
I've got it. It's mine.
Cole Whitt trying to hold on to 3rd, but Ron Hornaday working to the
Hornaday's
inside.
Going up.
Hornaday slides, and Hornaday's going to go around and into the wall he goes.
He took Cole Whitt with him, too.
Maybe some other trucks involved in the aftermath.
Oh,
there's
yes.
one right there. Looks like Jack Smith. How about the 16 of John King? Josh Richards, and the 15 also gets involved.
All caught up when Ron Hornaday slides back down the racetrack.
Ron was aggressively trying to grab that spot away from Cole Whitt. It didn't work out, obviously.
Got loose on the inside. We've seen it happen so many times, and this is a 4-time champion it happened to, and he was not able to save that truck. There's the damage to Josh Richards, number 15 truck. That's a KBM Kyle Busch Motorsports entry. There's John King in the 16 truck. Unfortunately, John had a spin earlier, but this one's going to be a lot of damage.
Jack Smith in the 63. We saw John King, the front of that truck. All of that came when he hit the 33 of Ron Hornaday, who was coming back down the racetrack.
And all this came when Ron Hornaday shoved up, got sideways, and took Cole Whitt into the outside wall 2 weeks in a row. It's been a month since the last one, but 2 races in a row since the 60 truck has had a good finish.
And still comes in here second in points, and it's going to be a big hit for him in the points.
Big hit for Hornaday, John King. Let's take another look at what just happened. Again, the 33 and 60 battling for position on the track.
This almost started off 2 over there. Ron tried to force the 60 up over there and wasn't able to do so. And this time, I think he just tried to carry the momentum, thinking maybe he could clear Cole Whitt, and he didn't get him cleared.
Brendan Gaughan did a great job avoiding him, but Ron came along and clipped the 15 as well as the 16 of John King running into Ron. Here's another view. He just drives it hard in the corner, but Cole didn't back off. Ron couldn't hold it down there. He chases it up. Cole gave him as much room as he could. They actually hardly made any contact, but it got him up too high, and he got sideways up in the loose stuff.
Oh, and you can see John King was coming into the wreck without slowing down as much as some of the other trucks, trying to avoid some of the trucks that were ahead of him. Watch this off turn 2. Watching this off 4.
Coming, he's spinning, no caution yet. Hold your brake, keep rolling there, hold your line, hold your line.
And you could see the 16 was out of control. He was trying to avoid the trucks that had slowed down. The 16 of John King didn't get slowed down as much as the other trucks. He trying to avoid those trucks, got sideways and clobbered Hornaday.
Josh Richards came by, an innocent bystander, got clipped pretty hard by Hornaday.
Let's take this back to the restart and watch the activity between the 33 and the 60. As they go down toward turn 1, you can see Johnny Sauter getting a good run on the inside of Kyle Busch. Watch Hornaday. He looks like right in the middle of the corner. He wants to go around Johnny Sauter.
Yeah, it looked like Johnny never got in the throttle.
Moves up the hill, but yet Cole was there, so that didn't work. Goes down in turn 3, tries to be a little bit more aggressive with the same type of move. Look at how far he drives down that corner.
But was not able to drive down and clear Colwood, and then lost the front end, got in the bumps, moved up the racetrack, had to chase the truck, got sideways, forced Cole all the way up into the loose stuff. He gets sideways, gets into the outside wall, and then the carnage happens.
Yeah, I bet he didn't expect that last clobber that he got there. John King ran into the truck of Hornaday. That has to catch you kind of off guard after all that had gone on.
And there's Cole Witt. Second points coming in here. He's not going to stay there.
Cole Witt battling for the 3rd spot on the racetrack with a 33 of Hornaday. And this is how it ends for those 2 trucks. Both into the wall, and then considerable damage to the 33 of Hornaday. It's the 5th caution of the night at Kentucky Speedway. We'll be back. Sunday, the Rolex Sports Car Series returns to Laguna Seca, home of the treacherous corkscrew. Strap in, because this is going to be intense. Don't miss the Rolex Sports Car Series from Laguna Seca Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, only on Speed, your motorsports authority. Let's go trackside to Ray.
Well, Cole Witt has climbed out of his Red Bull Chevrolet. As we looked at the replays, Cole, it looked awfully close to you being able to save that. How did it feel from the driver's seat?
I don't know. I mean, I really don't even know what happened. I wish I could see a replay or something, but I mean, I felt like I gave him plenty of racing room. I mean, he run me up the, yeah, I guess here it is. Let's see. I mean, I feel like coming up off it too, he run me up the hill, and then, yeah, and then down in 3 and 4, looks like he just got loose up underneath me, which is, you know, something that happens with these trucks. I mean, we're racing hard, so it sucks it has to end like that. Our truck was rebounding good and had a great run going for this Red Bull Field Doctor Chevrolet. You know, it's just, it's a shame. We got some work ahead of us.
Have you seen how much damage there is? Will you be able to get back out?
Yeah, but I mean, it ain't going to do nothing for us. I mean, we're going to get back out there and get a few laps, but it is what it is. I just wish we could have got the finish we deserve.
Came in 20 points out. This is going to be a big hit for him, guys.
The bad part is his worst 3 finishes of 2011 have all come in the last 3 races. That team was really, really doing some nice stuff, and they'll be back. That's a strong, strong team and a great young driver.
You almost have to sit here and scratch your head for a second and think, okay, the 53-year-old made the mistake and the 20-year-old was the one who was in the right on this one.
Well, that's certainly what you could surmise by that, Rick, but also, you know, you sort of know that a guy that's down on the bottom has a tendency to maybe get a little bit loose, and while I don't think Cole did anything wrong, that was one of those situations where Ron just had to get away from him a little bit. It wasn't anything out of whack that Ron did. He just got a little bit loose, and when he did, there wasn't any margin for error. So I agree with you 100%. I think Ron forced the issue a little bit early in the race. It didn't work out. That has to be, you know, if you're going to blame somebody, you got to blame Ron for that.
But I think what you're saying is that maybe with a little more experience, Cole would have recognized that and possibly given him the extra room, again, because we're only halfway at that point in the race.
Well, I think you're exactly, that's what I'm saying, Phil. It was avoidable, but on either part. Cole might have said, well, Ron was pretty aggressive off 2. I know Ron pretty good. He's probably going to be pretty aggressive in 3. Maybe I just roll up and give him a little bit more room.
Let's hear from Hornadays with Hermie.
Ron, restart's tough on this racetrack. Tell us what happened.
My own fault. We just got in there and I shattered the tires and I was out of gas and he just sucked me around, and it's a shame. The Chevrolet was decent. We were making it better every time. So got to thank Kroger and everybody, Hunt's Brother Pizza. It's been a lot of help, but we definitely didn't need that. We weren't the best truck, but I mean, we were just trying to hang on. Maybe we get a top 5, but we were just loose in, shattering tires in the middle, and that time it just stuck pretty good, and I drove her in there and it just lost the nose and got up into the 60, and he sucked me around.
That's Ron Hornaday. Back to you, Rick.
Thanks, Hermie. Field all in line once again. Kyle Busch on the outside. On the inside, Johnny Sauter. Green flag back in the air.
You know, we sit up here trying to explain it, and Cole and Ron explain it about like we did. Everybody sort of agrees.
Yeah, pretty much what happened.
They stay side by side for the lead.
Look at the run that Parker Kligerman's got off too.
On the inside, going to pull up a sider. Johnny Sauter.
Kligerman trying to make it 3 wide for the lead. He drops back to the 3rd spot now as Austin Dillon looks to the outside of him for that 3rd spot.
Maybe the first time we've seen Austin up on the high side of the racetrack.
Yeah, and it's the first time he's been that close to the front since we threw the green flag earlier tonight. And I tell you, I like this 3 truck. I like the things that he can do with that thing. I believe he might be the guy we got to beat to win this race in the second half.
I'm telling you, that 8 truck, keep an eye on that 8 truck of Nelson Piquet Jr. He's right now running back in the 7th spot. That truck looks awfully good like it did earlier.
We saw there Parker Kligerman running the low line. Johnny Sauter put at least a lane between the two as they were going through turns 1 and 2. Gave him plenty of room as he was down at the bottom of the racetrack.
Well, Johnny's a very seasoned veteran. He's won races in the Nationwide Series. He's won races in this series. He's had a lot of experience in the Cup Series. That may be exactly what we were talking about.
Now, when you get down to 10 to go, you quit. You start squeezing that down a little bit more and more.
You give no more room.
So Johnny Sauter running in the 2nd spot behind Kyle Busch. Parker Kligerman holds on to the 3rd position. Austin Dillon and Miguel Paludo, your top 5.
That's a name that keeps coming up when you talk about the top 5. Miguel Paludo, really impressed with the job he's done of understanding these trucks and getting really competitive.
Justin Lofton, that 46 truck, we caught a glimpse of him, moved over it back to Eddie Sharp Racing, the team he had so much success with in the Argus Series, has a good run going right now, running inside the top 10.
Lofton in the 9th position. Bodine just behind him in the top 10.
Right along with Steve Arpin here. He slides up the hill. So fun watching these guys bounce around these turns, isn't it?
Here's that truck, that 8 truck that we were talking about just a moment ago.
A couple of Brazilians there.
Don't overdrive the catch.
Nelson Piquet Jr. in the 8.
Nice, smooth, plenty of time here.
Able to go by the 7 of Miguel Paludo.
2 of them.
Jason White, the 23 truck, pulls in right behind the 7 of Paludo. And there's Joey Coulter. Joey's had a strong truck. He was one of the trucks that had to pit under green, took the wave around, trying to make his way back towards the front.
Looked like Parker Kligerman had a faster truck than Johnny Sauter on the restart, but Johnny's got that thing lined out now, and he's driving up on the tailgate of Kyle Busch. What's he saying inside that truck, Ray? You heard?
Yeah, well, we were under caution there, Michael. He came on and said, look, guys, I was so loose at the beginning, I wouldn't have give you a 25% chance of us winning this race, but now I think it's about a 90% chance. He said, obviously, there's a couple other really good trucks out there, but I think we're in the running. He said, it's just such a fine line, and that little bit of adjustment really helped me a lot through the center of the corners.
63 laps of racing to go, so plenty of racing still on the racetrack.
Another pit stop coming for everybody as well. Here's Elliott Sadler. Elliott came down on pit road this last caution flag, put 4 tires on. He's making his way back up towards the front. He's moved into the top 10 as well.
You know, we talked about Elliott Sadler losing all that track position. He's been able to battle back up inside the top 10, but it's a long road back to the front when you give up all that track position, especially, you know, just almost halfway through the event when that all happened to Elliott.
Yeah, and amazingly enough, Nelson Piquet Jr., who was also one of those 4 trucks that had the wave around, he's been able to make his way up through this field. He's already into the top 5.
He did not come down pit road, though, on that last caution like Elliott did.
And, you know, I was also interesting, as experienced as Elliott Sadler is, it looked like when those 2 trucks were out front, when they would get to traffic, Nelson Piquet Jr. was working the traffic good. He could close in on Elliott Sadler, so he has some savvy about getting around these trucks in traffic, which has helped him, too, make his way back up inside the top 5.
There's a good shot of the Georgia boot, number 30 of Todd Bodine, right there running behind Elliott Sadler. There's Steve Arpin, jumps to the inside in the 32 truck.
Looked like Elliott Sadler was off the pace down the back for some reason. Might got a little high off 2 or something. They closed on him awful fast.
They certainly did. Elliott's back to the 10th spot, actually lost a couple positions.
Really loose right now. So it's the only entry to the middle. We're going to take it. Just hang on to it. Hang on to it.
Really loose right now.
That's so painful, especially, seems like this track, especially in. There isn't a whole lot of banking when you drive off into the corner, and if you're loose, nothing to hold you, Ray.
And Michael, you were talking about one more pit stop coming up. What I think's interesting is we've had a lot of different strategies down here on pit road tonight. And Bruce Cook was just telling Elliott Sadler, we're going to give you 2 tires and fill it full of fuel, which will give you a little bit more nose weight. And that's going to help your truck all the way through the end. Now realize some of our guys down here put on 4, like Austin Dillon, who you see on the left side of your screen. They didn't want to put on 4, but they did. So guys, my question is, on that last pit stop, do you go gas only?
Well, it just depends on what your truck's doing. I believe, Phil, that the tires are good enough. You could go gas only. But if you're a little bit tight, maybe you do put in some gas, or excuse me, more gas than you really need in order to try to get some more rear weight to that thing to try to get it to turn better in the corners. That Ray, is what those guys are all talking about down there. 2 tires make it tighter than 4. Or what does it do if we put in more gas than we need to change our ballast in our truck? That's all the things that a crew chief has to try to figure his way through.
And sometimes they want to put tires on just to make the air pressure adjustment.
Todd Bodine trying to get by Elliott Sadler on the right of your screen. Battle for the 10th position.
Elliott Sadler is not happy right now. That thing's, you can tell right there, as it gets a little bit loose, he lets off the gas, and watch them come after him.
And he has as fresh of tires as anybody in the field right now. He put tires on his last pit stop.
Nelson Piquet Jr. takes 3rd away from Parker Kligerman.
Look at the run that Austin gets when those trucks are running side by side. They're punching such a big hole in the air.
Kligerman drops back.
Don't overdrive the Casimir. You will drive it away.
Very impressive run by Nelson Piquet Jr. See if Austin can get that truck to continue to work at the bottom like it has been. Another guy working at the bottom, Johnny Sauter, trying to take the lead away from Kyle Busch.
Kyle Busch is running that second lane, or about 2.5 lanes up from the bottom, really making it work. He really gets the momentum up off the corner. Had to pull down to the inside that time to get around Clayton Rogers.
Clay Rogers in the 92.
He's back in the 23rd spot.
23rd position. He's a lap down. We have 19 on the lead lap. Running 19th, Ricky Carmichael. It is Kyle Busch and Johnny Sauter pacing the field in Kentucky. No change at the top of the scoring pylon. It is Kyle Busch and Johnny Sauter running 1 and 2. Nelson Piquet Jr. has been looking extremely strong. Austin Dillon and Parker Kligerman are your top 5.
Guys, let's don't forget now, you know where Kyle Busch started, right?
Last. And he's first.
100 laps into the race, and he's been up in first for a number of laps.
But Phil, I think the 3rd, 4th, and 5th place trucks are all faster than Kyle Busch. Lap after lap, they're putting down times that are better than his. They're closing on him. There's Johnny Sauter all over Kyle. I asked you during break, how's he leading this race? There's so many trucks right now faster than him, but when you look at the top of the scoring pylon, it says Kyle Busch. But golly, they're coming.
I think right now, if Johnny Sauter was able to run the line he wanted to run and didn't have Kyle Busch in front of him, he'd drive away from him.
Pull away from the 18 of Kyle Busch. But as you mentioned, Michael, the guys who are really quick, Sauter, Nelson Piquet Jr., Austin Dillon, all 3 of those are continuing to put faster lap times down than Kyle Busch.
Yeah, as is Parker Kligerman. He's back in the 5th spot. He was faster than Kyle too. And you have to drop all the way back to the 7th spot where Joey Coulter rides. He put up the 2nd fastest time the last lap. So there's a lot of fast trucks that are converging on the front. When they all get there, it's going to be fun.
Kyle Busch has been making that truck extremely wide.
Here comes Johnny Sauter on the outside.
The outside of the racetrack is the place where Sauter will take the lead away from Kyle Busch.
Quarter bumper cleared.
Johnny's been working the bottom. Kyle's been higher. He's been in the middle of the racetrack. Johnny Sauter passed him on the outside.
I love that outside momentum. Did you hear the spotter? Quarter bumper clear. I mean, it barely could say it fast enough to tell you how fast Johnny Sauter went past Kyle Busch.
47 to go. Remember, they will have to come to pit road at least one more time.
Look at this battle back for 13th, 14th, 15th long in there. There's Justin Lofton ahead of Steve Arpin, David Starr, Brendan Gaughan. These guys, I've been watching these guys. They have been all over one another.
Justin had a great run through the center of the corner that last lap in 1 and 2. Was able to clear David Starr.
Johnny Sauter back out in front. 46 laps remain. Kyle Busch, Nelson Piquet Jr., Austin Dillon, and Parker Kligerman. They're your top 5. Jason White, Joey Coulter, Paluto, Sadler, and Bodine, your top 10.
You know what's interesting, Phil? We talk about the trucks 5th, 6th, 7th even that are faster than our leaders. We might have to do some pit strategy. We got to do something to get this track position so we can get up there and show how fast our truck is. And the thing that I love, these Goodyear tires these guys are running on, man, they'll last a long time. Maybe we don't even get tires anymore.
That's what's going to allow us to have some pit strategy. We talked about at the very top of the show that could be one of the keys here. We could see no tires win this race. Well, you're going to have 4 tires on the truck.
No new ones. I knew what you meant.
No new tires. Thank you, Michael.
We were all with you. Side by side, continuing to battle. Nelson Piquet Jr. to the inside of that 18 of Kyle Busch. These two racing for the second spot. Nelson Piquet Jr. able to keep the 8 stuck to the bottom of the racetrack, takes the second spot away from Busch.
It took Johnny about 30 laps to get by Kyle Busch, and it took Nelson 1.
And look who's coming next. Austin Dillon will be the next guy that drives up onto the tailgate of Kyle Busch. And there's your top 4 right there.
They're converging.
I told you they were.
Will it end up being pit strategy to determine who will make it to victory lane tonight at Kentucky Speedway? Stay with us. 43 laps to go. University of Northwestern Ohio 225 with just 38 laps remaining. Out in front, Johnny Sauter has a 1-second lead over Nelson Piquet Jr. But Nelson Piquet Jr. just brushed the wall coming through turn 4.
He ran out of room, Rick. He's been running that high line off the turn, and he just got a little bit too high. He hit it with the right rear corner of the truck, Phil. If you're going to hit the wall with part of your truck, that's the best part. You don't want to mess up those valuable front fenders.
And it didn't look like he hit it behind as we watch this great battle for the 3rd spot. He didn't mess up the tires, too, so there's no toe-in issue.
Austin Dillon on the bottom of the racetrack trying to get by Kyle Busch. Busch up high, keeping the momentum up.
You made a great point when you said Nelson Piquet Jr. made that pass in 1 turn after it took Johnny Sauter 30. Austin Dillon's been working on him for 4 or 5 laps. That just tells you what a truck that guy in the 8 has underneath of him. He was able to get right around Kyle Busch and set his sights, as Kyle gets a little high, set his sights on our leader, Johnny Sauter.
Your voice got a little high.
I know, that scares me. I've hit those walls before, as you might have read.
Side by side they stay. Again, this is the battle for the 3rd spot. Austin Dillon trying to take it away from Kyle Busch.
Austin's wanting so badly to hear Andy Houston tell him clear, and just hasn't quite been able to do it. Andy Houston being his spotter, who Austin got a little bit loose, had to chase it up the hill a little bit, but Kyle had given him enough room, so he had room to chase it.
Okay, bud, just get back in line here, gather it in, we'll get you.
And remember,
keep working hard on it.
The 18 and the 3. Kyle Busch, Richard Childress Racing, they've had bad blood already this year. Kyle Busch is not going to give up to a Richard Childress Racing driver.
Check this out. This is when Nelson Piquet Jr. gets high off 4 and hits the wall.
Just taps it with the right rear corner.
You know, Phil, when you come, look at all this room. We'll watch him tap it again with the right rear corner like you said. Look at all this room you have exiting turn 4. When you set up here, look, pit road, we got one of the leaders to pit road.
Green flag pit stop for Parker Kligerman. Herming.
Yeah, big pit stop for the 29 team of Parker Kligerman. Been fighting a little bit of a free condition on entry. 4 tires in the air pressure adjustment, Ray.
23 of Jason White was also in. They went fuel only. They had to go to the 2nd can, which surprised me just a little bit, but he will get off pit road here at lap 116. And when we get a chance, guys, we need to take a look at the 2 truck. He is blowing water out. He said the water temperature is pegged. That could be a big problem for the Hunt Brothers Chevrolet.
Well, if the temperature's pegged and it's losing water, it will be a big problem. I don't think it can make it another, you know, that many laps, another 33 laps.
And ironically, he was the 3rd fastest truck that lap on the racetrack.
That happens too. He was really loose at first. He gets those tire pressures built up. You lose so much ground though, you can't hardly ever make it up, but you can run some fast laps after you get your tires worn in a little bit.
I'll tell you, we're getting close to a lot of people making pit stops here. We've already seen Kligerman on pit road. We've already seen Jason White on pit road. Johnny Sauter was last on pit road on lap number 60. That's 58 laps ago.
Why doesn't Elliott Sadler, if he's pegging the temperature right now, why doesn't he come to pit road? He's got to make a green flag pit stop anyway. He can go longer than anyone else. He pitted on lap number 72, so he can probably go another 15 laps. He would love to catch a caution, put some of these guys a lap down.
I'm with you though, Rick. Man, I can get to pit road and cool her down.
Don't want that thing to blow up. 1.2 seconds the difference between Johnny Sauter and Nelson Piquet Jr.
Welcome back to Kentucky. Austin Dillon decided to go with tires instead of going on no tire stop. It'll be 4 for the Bass Pro Shop Chevrolet. They're going with gas now down to Herming.
Yeah, Kyle Busch is making his way to pit road, which should be his final stop, he needs more grip. Overall grip on the 18. They're going to put 4 tires on this 18, an air pressure adjustment, and a gain and a half of Sunoco fuel. Also, we want to update Nelson Piquet Jr. He just recently made his green flag pit stop on lap 120. A little bit of a mistake. You watch it right here. Nelson Piquet Jr. coming into his pit stop. Watch. He overshoots his pit stall. NASCAR official makes him back up. That cost him about 7 or 8 valuable seconds on his pit stop for the 18.
That's a great point, Hermie. And not only that, when he slid into his pit, that put him too close to the inside wall, and it took his jackman a long time to get that left side jacked up. Cost him even more seconds.
When he came onto pit road, he was only 1.2 seconds behind Johnny Sauter, and a big problem on pit road for that 8 team. Now we go back down to Ray.
For the 7, he was tight through the middle, so they definitely need to make an adjustment. He said he just can't get the wheel to turn the way he wants to. Right side tires go on that Stemco race truck, and they're going to come around. Looks like a 2-tire stop only. They had to get gas in it. And the big decision for Joe Shear now is, what do we do? Are we going 2 or 4? He's been watching the monitor to see what the other guys are doing. He wanted to make an air pressure adjustment in the right front. Sauter said the truck is good on the high side, but it's way too loose on the bottom side. It's going to be a 4-tire stop. The guys come around to the left side. Tires get hung on there. They need to get the fuel in. Not too bad. They'll go rolling away. Oh, and Sauter may have stalled it. Did he get it back in gear? Yes. No. Is it rolling? No. I'm not sure the truck's even rolling.
Yeah, it's rolling, and he's slow off of pit road.
Drive flange or something.
Yeah, I thought he just broke something. Broke something when they dropped the jack. He tried to leave. He either broke a drive plate or something like that.
Maybe an axle.
Broken axle, guys. Get ready.
Broken axle. We just heard out of Johnny Sauter's. We see Elliott Sadler on pit road now for his change. Right.
These guys are going to clear off that grill. That's the most important part. They did that. Right side tires on there. Had to wait a little bit on fuel. They'll have that grill clean. Sauter is on his way back to pit road. He said something is definitely broken.
Yeah, he's out of it, Ray. He's broken axle, it looks like, or a drive plate. So that's going to take him completely out of contention. It's going to take him a number of laps to fix that.
Yeah, you could see that when he went to leave, only one wheel was pulling. That's why he wasn't able to get going very well.
Yeah, these rear ends lock up. Watch him now when they drop the jack. About the same time, it broke right then. See the right rear tire spinning, the left rear tire not spinning. Here it is again. Watch them when they drop the jack. There it is. Now only one wheel is driving. He can't get going.
And that's why you hear the motor just revving up, but not going anywhere.
You saw the black streak come from the right rear tire. What a horrible break for Johnny Sauter. It's been so good this entire weekend. And man, oh man. Watch this now. Watch when this truck goes by. You see that black streak? That black streak right there? That's because the right rear tire is the only one pulling. It's like a positive traction rear end in a street car. Right now he has an open rear end because only one wheel's pulling.
So unfortunate for the 13 team, as he was looking dominant toward the end of this race. Now Joey Coulter out in front. James Buescher running in the 2nd spot. Bodine, Travis Kvapil, and Brendan Gaughan are your top 5. And Ricky Carmichael running in the 6th is the last truck on the lead lap.
Right now the top 7 trucks have not made their way to pit road for this round of pit stops. They have to be getting close.
There comes Joey Coulter.
Joey Coulter's getting ready to come down pit road right now. Let's make sure this is a young driver. Make sure no mistakes, Michael.
He comes on to pit road. It looks like Parker Kligerman might be coming onto pit road as well. No, that's not Parker Kligerman behind him.
It's Justin Lawson.
Justin Lawson at 46.
I was watching his truck. He went really high, almost got in the wall down in 3 and 4, and then came straight to pit road. Coulter's done a great job so far, Phil. He got that thing down to speed and looks like he's going to get to his pit stall without any issues.
Right.
Right side tires for these guys, just as you guys were talking about. They wanted to make an air pressure adjustment. Half a pound in the right front. He only needed about 6 seconds of fuel, so that'll be a fast stop for the 22.
I like that call. Make something happen here. Kyle Busch right now is the top running truck that made his green flag pit stop. We'll see how it shakes out when Joey Coulter gets back on the racetrack. We know Kyle Busch put 4 tires on.
I like the fact that Elliott Sadler swapped it up. A lot of guys doing different things. You can see the 46 here. He didn't plan to come to pit road, I don't believe. I think that this team was going to maybe just gas and go. When he slid that left front tire so far, they called an audible and put left side tires on that truck. So that was a smart call. But he was way up out of the groove. And he just made a dead left and came to pit road.
James Buescher, your race leader, on pit road now. So Buescher gives the lead up to Todd Bodine, who's still out on the racetrack. Actually, Bodine following him. We go to Hermie.
Yeah, we talked in the pre-race show about how good tire wear can affect race strategy. James Buescher stayed on the racetrack as long as he could to get fuel only on his last stop.
Now things are starting to heat up.
I like that call as well. I like that call as well. But to me, if you have to put a can of gas in as Todd Bodine is making his pit stop, he's going to go with 4 tires. You see his left front tire changer fall down. If you're going to put 1 can of gas in, you might as well change 2 tires.
Do it about the same time. You're right, Joe.
Bodine on and off of pit road. Nelson Piquet Jr. Remember the mistake he had, but he was trailing Johnny Sauter, who's off the racetrack.
But check this out, Rick. He gets down into turn 3 and 4, jumps over the cushion we talk about. He's up out of the groove. Look how sideways he is, and look where he's headed. We've seen trucks crash when they get up here. He almost is able to hang on to that truck, though.
A great job of holding on to the truck, but it's going to lose another 2 or 3 seconds while he does that.
Hermie.
Yeah, Brendan Gaughan making his way to pit road. He came to pit road, got fuel only on his last stop. He also extended his last tire run, trying to make up some track position at the end of this race.
Just the 10th race of the 2011 season. And already coming in, Johnny Sauter, your points leader, he's had problems. Second, Cole Witt was involved in an accident. Third, Hornaday involved in an accident. And how about the 88 of Crafton?
Oh, look at there.
How about this?
Blew off on
Austin Dillon's hood up in front of the windshield.
Running second. Running
in the second spot, and he was 4th in points.
The hood blew up, guys. Can you see? Keep coming inside, outside.
He may be able to see, but Nas, you can see he can see, but he's got to come to pit road here.
Rip it off. Rip the damn thing off.
And see Danny Stockman, crew chief on the left side of your screen.
Austin Dillon had fought and made up all that track position that we wanted him to make up. He was right on the tail of Kyle Busch, looking to make a move on the leader, and I'll be darned if his hood didn't blow off.
We saw Austin able to pass Kyle Busch earlier, but unfortunately it's going to be all for naught.
There are 4 pins that hold the front of that hood down. Something crazy had to happen for all 4 of those pins to fail for that hood to come up.
Yeah, one of them fails and it gets a little air in there to rip the rest of them out. But you're right, Rick, we never see this happen. And this guy's trying to get the lead of the race and his hood blows off.
They'll have to tear that hood off. It's tethered on right now, so they'll cut those tethers and send him back out on the track.
And you can see there's no damage to the front of that truck.
Tear it off.
So he didn't run into anyone.
Exactly. That's the only thing. You can run into somebody, maybe knock a couple pins loose, and then the other 2 are pulled off by the air. But it looks like no damage at all to that truck. As you said, my 1 pin came out, the thing kept working.
All 4 pins are gone from where they would be on the front of that truck. You don't see the pins coming up.
They're cutting off the tethers to get rid of that hood. It's taking a little bit longer than I bet you they hoped it would. Tells you how tough those tethers are to keep those hoods in place.
Right.
Well, guys, the left side of the hood was already dislodged from where it hooks to the body. They got the right side easy, but just as you said, it was the tether that took him the longest time on the right side. Hood is away, and he'll go back. But, boy, an interesting night in the points tonight as Sauter has been behind the wall, and that happens to Dillon.
Yeah. Going for second, Austin Dillon. The hood flies up on his truck.
You know, and what a great point Ray makes on the point standings. I'm so into this race. The guys that are trying to win the race having all this stuff go crazy. It's having repercussions on our points as well.
Watch, look at it. Look at the right side. Right side hop a little bit. The pins have come loose on the right side. And it just keeps on going across till it finally gets the last one on the left. Remember just a few laps ago when Cole Witt had his problem? We said, well, he's out of it now. Right now, he hasn't lost but just 3 points from the lead. Danny Stockman cannot believe it.
So many problems for a top 5 in points in this race.
And it's all happened just, I mean, it's crazy the things that have gone on. Ron Hornaday, 4-time champ, won last week. He gets in a crash with our second place man in points, and this guy's trying to win the darn race. His hood blows off. But what a great, you know, NASCAR's safety procedures they've gone through. That hood would have went flying in the air if it weren't for those tethers.
Don't tell him where it could have went. I mean, when he was on the front stretch, it could have gone into grandstands, but NASCAR recognized that several years ago, and you have to tie him down.
After all of the craziness that has taken place on pit road and on the racetrack, Kyle Busch is back out in front of this field.
And by the way, guys,
he started last.
We're inside of 10 laps to go, and that's Joey Coulter, just turned 21 a few weeks ago, racing Kyle Busch for the lead here.
And by the way, he beat him 3/10 the last lap. He's way faster than Kyle Busch right now. Oh, we got a spinner.
Right behind them, the 99 of Charlie Vest goes sideways.
Go, Joey, go hard. Keep on going.
He's all the way around. No caution yet.
I think NASCAR's going to hold off throwing it, see if he can refire it. He's right on pit road. He's really out of the racing groove completely right now. If he sits there, obviously NASCAR will have no choice but to throw the caution.
And he is sitting there right now. But look at this battle we got for the lead.
Caution comes out inside of 10 laps to go.
Look out, look out, look out, look out.
Turn 4.
The 32 of Steve Arpin slides, and magically Charlie Vest gets it running and pulls out of the way.
It's a heck of a day at sea, guys. I mean, everything in the whole world has gone to heck right now. What is going on?
Wow. I thought Steve Arpin was going to drill Charlie down there.
Oh, I'm nervous.
Arpin was 9th.
How did he spin out?
Sliding coming through turns 3 and 4.
Remember Nelson Piquet Jr. and all the problems he had pit road took him out of contention. He's 3rd. He will line up on the inside of the 2nd row on this restart.
Yeah, and look at the guys that Kyle Busch is going to have to try to hold off. None of them have won a race. Heck, the top
Joey
5
Coulter
hasn't won a race except
Nelson
for Kyle
Piquet
Busch.
Jr., Jason White, Parker Kligerman, all in your top 5 that have not won in the Truck Series.
Here's the leaders go by, the 99. It just sucks him around a little bit. He got a little bit loose, tried to chase it, and then got loose again. He does a nice job keeping that truck out of the outside wall. Whew. I really thought he would have been able to refire that truck and continue on, not cause a caution flag, but then Steve Arpin came along and spun as well. There's Steve Arpin. I thought he was going to come down off the racetrack.
Look where he's headed, Phil.
Right for Charlie.
He's going to drill the 99 if it doesn't move.
But Charlie didn't just move because he saw Steve coming. Charlie was on his way to move, and that's why Steve didn't clobber him. Holy cow.
So out in front of this field, when we go back to racing, Kyle Busch, Joey Coulter. They'll make up row number 1. Nelson Piquet Jr. and Jason White, Parker Kligerman to make it up your top 5. 4 of the top 5 have never won a truck race. Take a deep breath. We're back at Kentucky Speedway. We have just 6 laps of racing to go. When they get to the start-finish line, it'll be 5 remaining. Lights are off the pace car, meaning that when we get back to the start-finish line, we will go back green.
You gonna breathe now?
I really needed this break. I can't believe everything that's going on. I'm going to tell you guys right now, the 4 trucks right behind Kyle are so much faster than him, but can they beat him?
Remember Kansas now.
This was Kansas. Joey Coulter and the 18 of Kyle Busch racing hard at the end of the race.
That was a battle for 5th, and that was after the race on a cool-down lap. That was Kyle Busch getting into Joey Coulter.
And then after that, Pop did a beatdown.
He was not happy with the contact. And
they
so
went to the garage area and had it out.
Pace car is off. Get ready.
This is huge, guys.
Coulter on the inside. Kyle Busch on the outside. He is your race leader. He will restart this race in the zone.
Don't let him have a lot of room. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready.
Green flag back in the air. 5 laps of racing to go.
A great restart by Kyle Busch. They both spun their tires a little bit.
Go get him, Joey.
How about Jason White?
Jason White on the outside making his move. Here comes the 2 of Elliott Sadler as well.
3 wide back here. Joey Coulter on the bottom of 3.
He did not get a good start, obviously, as neither did Nelson Piquet Jr. 3 wide into 3.
3 wide behind.
Oh, trouble.
And Miguel Paludo in the 7 into the wall hard. That'll bring caution out again.
And Steve Arpin also involved. There's Timothy Peters.
Ooh, he barely slips by.
Nelson Piquet Jr., Miguel Paludo into the wall in turns 3 and 4.
What a crash. Yeah, Nelson Piquet Jr. had been so good this entire race.
What about Richard Childress? He's got 2 trucks getting ready to win, or 2 of his trucks, 2 of the teams he works with, getting ready to win this darn race, and now one of them's crashed and the other one didn't get a very good restart.
Yeah, Joey Coulter fell back to 5th. Look at all the damage to Miguel Paluda. Another great run he was having. Spring just came out from that truck. Ray, what's going on with Joey Coulter's guys?
Well, Phil, on the radio, Joey came on and said, guys, I think I missed a gear there. That's why it didn't go good. And so that's a bit of a disappointment. But crew chief Harold Hawley said, don't let that get to you. This is a learning experience, and that's why you're here.
There's Richard Childress watching. Yeah. Didn't get the start he wanted.
Well, he's going to have another shot at it here. He's not going to line up in the front row, but he is going to line up in the 5th spot. We've seen these trucks go 3 wide, 4 wide. Anything can happen, Michael.
Yeah, that wreck right there took out our 2 Brazilians.
I think we'll see that young man contend some more before this season's over.
Yeah, he looked very strong tonight.
See if we can tell what went wrong down here in turn 4.
See Nelson Piquet in the 8 truck in the middle.
He gets loose, doesn't he?
Gets a little bit loose and just gets in the left rear corner of Miguel. Then nowhere for him to go. Also for Steve Arpin, nowhere for him to go as well. Timothy Peters does a nice job avoiding his teammate Miguel Paludo.
Timothy's had a tough night, but it didn't get any tougher. I mean, that was a great save he made. You can watch him coming in here late. He gets hit in the back
by the 39 truck.
Spun around, but yet doesn't make it worse by running into these guys.
He lets off the brake at just exactly the right time and turns the wheel left to avoid Miguel Paludo.
Look at this glob of trucks coming, Phil.
Yeah, Nelson just got a little bit loose, had to chase it up the hill just enough. And unfortunately, Miguel was already there, but Miguel was up to the top of the black. I mean, he couldn't have given him any more room, it didn't look like.
No, Miguel did just what he was supposed to. Nelson just got loose and caused a crash. You can see all the room Nelson had to the left. He could have been down on Joey Coulter more. It looked like that thing got sideways on entry.
Yeah.
You know, real early, he couldn't turn it like he hoped to, and that's why he was up the hill so far.
It's the second KHI truck to sustain some pretty significant damage in addition to Ron Hornaday.
Check out Brendan Gaughan. He raced his way up here.
Middle of 3.
Oh, yeah, Brendan was in the middle of 3 himself.
Keep coming, put it on the inside.
This is Steve Arpin, the Mike's Hard Lemonade truck. Again, he was committed to the high side. Nowhere for him to go, guys.
Spotter said go low, but there was no possibility of going low.
Yeah, you can't turn these trucks that fast. They don't react that quickly. Look at that 7 truck of Miguel Paludo up off the ground when he clobbered that outside wall. We've seen some big hits tonight, boys.
We're going the extra distance. This one was scheduled to go 150 laps. We've already completed 148. Let's go back to pit road and Hermie Sadler.
Nelson Piquet Jr., a great run going, ends up a few laps short. Tell us what happened.
Restart went okay. The 22, I don't know what he did in turn 1. He backed off so much that I had to go in his outside, making myself 3 wide. And I went into turn 3 and 3 wide. I tried to keep my line, not to do anything silly, but everybody came together and had nowhere to go. I mean, it's a shame. The truck was awesome. It was one of those Nashville weekends. You know, everything was going great, and it's even more a shame of having a wreck with my fellow Brazilian. You know, the last person I wanted to touch was him. So I'm really sorry for him and for my team that deserved a good result for all their hard work. So, you know, let's try to repeat it again and next weekend.
It's Nelson Piquet Jr. and to update the 22, where it is, he may have missed a shift on that start to kind of bag the field up that Nelson was referring to. Rick.
Thanks, Hermie. Let's talk to one of the guys who's running in contention to win this race, Jason White. Phil, can you talk with him?
Let's try. Let's see if we can raise him on the radio. Jay White, Phil Parsons up in the speed booth. You have a copy?
Copy, Phil.
Jay White, we were talking the other day what a struggle it's been for you guys this year. You had a great test at Rockingham. KHI did some work to that truck, and you're going to be restarting on the front row with Kyle Busch. You got a shot at him?
We're going to do it all, baby. We're going to go in there and drive in there and see what we got. This team has done a heck of a job, Chad, and all the guys, man, and we're going to go see what we can do to old Rowdy Busch, see if we can rowdy him up a little bit.
All right, we're going to let you go. Concentrate. 1 to go, buddy.
This is big. Jason White had never been this close to winning one of these babies. Fourth here a year ago. Like you said, Phil, 2011's been a struggle for Jason and his team. I love Jason White, though, because he believes in himself. He said, we got something wrong with our trucks. He never said there's something wrong with Jason White. And here he's sitting on the front row with a restart green, white, checkered. If he could pull off this victory against that cat sitting to his outside, it's be the career night for Jason White.
And remember, Kyle Busch has not been the fastest truck, probably the last 50 laps, but he's been able to hold these guys off.
But how many times have we said there's nobody I would rather have for a lap or two after a restart than Kyle Busch? He's got 2 laps. He has to have 2 more good laps.
And look who's right there in third spot.
Elliott Sadler.
He's got that thing tuned up. He was dominant in the first part of this race. What did he lead? Some 47, 48 laps, almost 50 laps early in the going. So you know Elliott Sadler has winning on his mind.
First 2 rows, we've got 2 guys who have never won a truck race. This could change tonight. A green-white checker finish. It's the 3rd one of 2011, the 3rd time it's happened at Kentucky. Coming back through the tri-oval, Kyle Busch, Jason White, 1 and 2. Green flag back in the air.
A good start by Kyle. Look at Elliott Sadler making it 3 wide for second.
Parker Kligerman on the outside trying to take second away as well. Kligerman with the momentum on the outside. He's going to get second away from Elliott Sadler.
Elliott got really, really loose. That puts him in the middle of 3 wide.
Jason White back to the bottom, trying to grab 3rd away from Sadler. But look at Brendan Gaughan on the outside, bringing Todd Bodine with him.
Brendan Gaughan moves up to 3rd. Bodine moves into the 4th spot. Can Parker Kligerman reel in the 18? 1 lap of racing to go when they get to the stripe. White flag in the air.
Todd Bodine, we haven't hardly talked about the entire race. He's running 4th right now, trying to get 3rd away from his teammate.
Parker Kligerman trying to find a way around the 18 of Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch trying to hang on with a truck he didn't think could win tonight.
He's got to make 2 more turns, and it's going to go straight to victory lane, Rick.
Kyle Busch in the Dollar General number 18 didn't practice earlier this morning in the truck, but he didn't need it. Victory lane is the next stop for the 18 of Kyle Busch.
3 wide for the 6th spot. What a battle in that green-white checker those guys were having.
Elliott Sadler came off the corner 8th, and he was able to get back by those 2 other trucks that were 3 wide with him. But how about Kyle Busch? We talked about it, Michael. Nobody we would rather have for a lap or 2 after a restart than Kyle Busch.
Impressive finishes for Parker Kligerman. Brendan Gaughan comes home in 3rd. Bodine is 4th. Jason White holds on for a top 5.
That's a 2nd consecutive 2nd place finish for Parker Kligerman, too.
What about Todd Bodine stepping up and grabbing a 4th spot? This team's on the brink of not going to the races. Todd gets a good solid top 5 finish for those guys.
29th win for Kyle Busch in just his 93rd start in the Camping World Truck Series. That is 2nd all-time to Ron Hornaday.
That breaks the 3-way tie for 2nd with Jack Sprague and Mike Skinner.
The celebrations begin.
Watch what Kyle Busch does here, Phil. He's going to go ahead and squeeze old Jay White down. Look, he's sort of out of line. He's going to bring the other guys in line with him, but he's got Jay pinched down. That's just a way of just rattling Jay's cage a little bit, saying, okay, I'm going to come over, and Jason, instead of thinking about nailing that restart, Jason might be thinking for a split second, what's he doing? Why is he doing that? And that threw him off just enough for Kyle to get that huge jump. Great move by Kyle Busch.
Kyle had a great restart. Jason White slid back to the 5th position.
And oh, by the way, that's his 5th win of the year out of 10 races.
5th win by Kyle Busch. And remember, Kyle Busch Motorsports won with Casey Kane when Kyle wasn't in the truck. So the 6th win for Kyle Busch Motorsports in 10 races.
Pretty impressive for our last year's championship owning team.
Very impressive. Kyle Busch once again celebrates in the Camping World Truck Series.
He talked about it earlier this week. He really wants to do the sweep here. He's got a pretty good start.
He started that.
I think he's the only guy that can.
He is now. So he'll grab the checkered flag. You know, it's amazing the response he gets. You can hear the boos. You can hear the cheers.
Everybody's saying something.
Yes. They're voicing their opinions.
Remember at Bristol? Started last, drove victory lane, Kentucky. Starts last, wins again.
After missing the drivers' meeting earlier today, he had to start in the back of the pack, and that is his 98th NASCAR win. Welcome back to Kentucky Speedway, and there in victory lane is Kyle Rowdy Busch. Let's go down to Hermie.
Kyle Busch, Camping World Truck Series victory number 29 and number 6 of 10 this year for Kyle Busch Motorsports. Well, you made it interesting for us. Qualified 8, started in the back. Got some good breaks along the way and held on through some very interesting restarts. Tell us about your night.
Well, it's been a long day, first of all. You know, good thing I skipped the first morning practice. Otherwise, I would have had about 20 more laps in me. But thank you. Appreciate you looking out for me. I can't say enough about these guys on this KBM team. Can't say enough about Dollar General, Toyota, Flexco, M&M's, Triad Racing Engines. You know, I mean, everybody just that pitches into this deal makes it happen. It's fun for us to come out here. It's fun for all these guys. They love it. Eric and Rick and everybody that does a great job for us. You know, it was looking to be a 3-truck night, and then he had his problems. I don't even know what happened. And then the 22 was coming on me, so I'm like, all right, here comes another one. And you know, the caution come out and kind of saved us. He would have passed us, but you know, we never give up. That's our mentality. We might not have the fastest truck tonight, but we certainly gave it our all. And say enough about Joe Gibbs Driven Racing Oil, Electric Sunglasses, Camping World, of course. Appreciate those guys.
Talk about the last restart. You had a bunch of unfamiliar faces around you on that last restart, but your last one was your best one.
Yeah, the second to last one was some unfamiliar too, and then the last one, yeah, the last one, those guys got, you know, can't think of him, 23.
Jason White.
Jason White, sorry, Jason. But yeah, I mean, Jason was on my inside there, and I know these guys are racing for their lives, you know, trying to get their first win, and we were just able to motor on and get a better restart than they did, you know, not spin our tires as much and accelerate forward. So, again, you know, just a great night for all of us. Thank all these guys. They did a great job for me all weekend, and hopefully this is just a start. Maybe we can have a couple more this weekend, and we'll see. But thank Gillette and the fans as well, too.
That's Kyle Busch. He's in victory lane, Ray.
And Parker Kligerman was watching the video there. We've been talking a little bit. I know I heard you on the radio say you chased the track a lot tonight, but how about back-to-back second-place finishes?
Yeah, you know, I said there too. This team has worked their tails off the last few months. We're a tiny team. This came together late. I put us in a little bit of a hole at the beginning of the year in terms of kind of crashing trucks and such, but, you know, I kind of got my head screwed on straight here these last few races, and we've just slowly chipped away at it. You know, qualifying one better each week, obviously finishing second twice in a row. And, you know, as a tiny team, we need those little breaks that we just had to get trucks built and such. But, you know, I want to thank the guys that make this possible. Brad Keselowski, Penske Truck Rental, Ram, and R&B Transport. They make this possible. You know, we're trying to go the whole season. We want to, you know, get high in the points, convince these people that we need to go the whole season. And I just can't thank these guys enough. My crew chief, Jeff Stankwitz, you got to hear this. This marks his first year as a crew chief. And he has built this program to one of the best programs here with no funding. You know, I mean, it's crazy what we've been able to do. And I told my guys on the cool-down lap, I said, mark what we're doing right here because we got to do this all year. And on top of that, I want to say that I wanted to make a move on 18, but we had top points tonight, and we really needed them. So.
He's going for points, guys. You believe that? I mean, he's racing side by side with Kyle Busch. Great night tonight for Team 29.
And we take a look at those Ford point standings. Amazingly enough, the top 6 in points all had issues tonight.
That is amazing.
Johnny Sauter added 3 points, and he had a broken axle.
Yeah, how about that? Cole, we thought he was going to come out here 40, 50 points behind. He ends up staying in second. But how about Parker Kligerman, James Buescher, both jumping up 3 positions. And remember, James Buescher missed a race. If James Buescher would have run in one of his team trucks at Phoenix and maybe had a 15th place finish, he right now would be inside of 5 points of the lead.
And can I just tell you guys, Matt Crafton, Coulter, Brendan Gaughan, they all said they're going to look at the points and say, what a great night we had. I mean, this is a top 10 truck now battle for the points lead.
2 rookies in the top 5 in the Ford point standings. But in victory lane tonight, as we've seen so many times before, Kyle Busch celebrating again. The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series on Speed is brought to you by Camping World RV Sales. The best selection and best value on travel trailers, guaranteed. By KFC. Today is a KFC day, and today tastes so good. And by Touch of Gray. Gets rid of some gray, never all. Welcome back under the lights at Kentucky Speedway. Let's hear from the guy who finished third, Brendan Gaughan.
A pretty good effort in qualifying, but an outstanding effort. What did you guys do right tonight to make this top 5 happen?
Wasn't anything I did. Brian Berry and the boys worked hard. I pounded the right side off our Tundra, and Brian did a bunch of adjustments in the end. We did 2 tires, and then restarts. I've always said I learned from Ron and Jack years ago how to restart, do a little different things on my transmissions, and restarts got me here. I mean, I passed, 7, 8, 9 cars and 2 restarts, so love that transmission, love the Germain boys.
All right, Brendan Gaughan with another great run. He comes home in 3rd place.
And a great finish for Brendan Gaughan. Let's take a look at our Touch of Gray winning moment. The winning touch by Touch of Gray. And Kyle Busch started the day off after he missed the drivers' meeting. He had to go to the back of the field to start.
Yeah, and in between that start of the race and the end of the race, he passed an awful lot of trucks. There he is going by 2 trucks right here at the same time.
Yeah, and he wound up right at the front of the field. Squeezed down on Jason White a little bit, maybe threw Jason off his game just enough for Kyle to get the break that he needed. Elliott Sadler, Parker Krigleman, 3 wide with Jason White. But at the checker, the result was something we've come accustomed to in 2011.
Yeah, or in his brief career, 29 times he's been to victory lane.
That was the Touch of Gray winning touch. The hat dance continues in victory lane for Kyle Busch. We'll be back in just a moment here at Kentucky Speedway. Welcome back under the lights and under the moonlights here in Sparta, Kentucky at Kentucky Speedway. Let's hear from the guy who came oh so close to getting his first win. Driver the 22, Joey Coulter, with Herman.
Thank you, Rick. And Joey Coulter, you know, a couple months ago you might have been ecstatic with a 7th place finish, but still a good run. But you guys, if that caution had came out, Kyle Busch said in victory lane, you guys were going to be the truck to beat.
Man, I was so bummed when that caution came out. You know, I wasn't too worried about it. You know, I knew we had a good truck. You know, I don't know, kind of missed it on the restart. And then the second restart, whatever I hurt the first one, messed up in the second one. So, you know, it just had a good 3rd gear and thought I was going to be able to stick with him, and then just missed 4th gear. I pulled it back and it didn't go all the way in. But it was a great night for the number 22. I mean, awesome pit stops. Harold played great pit strategy. And, you know, we're ready to go to Iowa. I can't wait. It's one of my favorite racetracks, so we're looking forward to it.
These guys are gaining momentum every week. Ray?
I didn't even notice you were here in qualifying, but all of a sudden I had to notice you were here at the end. What was the difference?
Worked hard. You know, Georgia Boots on the truck, and they're the hardest working boot in America, and we couldn't let them down, so we went out there and worked hard. Juniors made some great calls. I mean, we made huge changes in the setup, air pressures and wedges and rubbers and shocks, and I mean, we did a ton of stuff during the race. And at the end is when it was the best. We were a little better toward the middle, but then we got a little tight. But we never give up. You know, it's Germain Racing. You know, we never give up, and we still haven't given up. You know, we're not going to Iowa. No sponsor to go with, so anybody watching wants to sponsor a truck, we need a sponsor by Tuesday.
All right, these guys never give up, and that brought them home another top 5.
Thanks, Ray. A very unbelievable situation and scenario there for our defending series champion, Todd Bodine. It doesn't look like you're going to make the trip next week to Iowa.
Yeah, it's too bad here, but what a great effort again by Kyle Busch and Parker Kligerman, 2nd consecutive top 2 finish. And how about the Germain guys, Brendan Gaughan, Todd Bodine with top 5s?
Yeah, look at Jason White, a great night for him, having a chance to sniff that victory at the end. I know that meant a lot to Jason.
12 trucks on the lead lap when the checkered flag flew. It was a crazy night. We saw some amazing things on the racetrack. Again, coming in, your top 6 in points all had issues, either involved in accidents or had mechanical failures.
Yeah, you got Johnny Sauter finishing 24th, Cole Witt finishing 26th, Hornaday finishing 27th. Amazing.
Yeah, that's lottery kind of stuff. You can't say that the top 6 are going to have all going to have problems in the same race. How's that happen?
Even though it was crazy at the beginning of the race and in the middle of the race, something normal happened once again. We saw Kyle Busch win another Camping World Truck Race. It's his 29th career truck win.
Next week,
The Camping World Truck Series heads to the heartland of America as it visits the Iowa Speedway. Last year, it was all about rookie Austin Dillon as he took the pole and went on to take home his first checkered. With this year's strong rookie class, will we see another young gun get their first Camping World Truck Series win? Tune in to find out. Chris Devoda hosts the setup starting at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, followed by flag-to-flag coverage, only on Speed.